All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. Gridiron the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
Welcome to the All Sports All Plays College Breakdown on the All Sports All Plays Network. I am Ray Cruz. I'm trying to get my co-host in here momentarily. We're back. We had a long break here between shows. We had about 3 weeks off. We had some hurricane issue. We had some technical issues. We had me working last weekend, so we're back here to do this weekend, week 10. We got a lot of games to cover on this episode here. So we can do a little bit of housekeeping here right now while we're waiting for my co-host to get in here. Let me get my thing set up here. And yeah, I'm working on getting some stuff here. So we're going to go take a commercial break. We'll be right back. I am Ray Cruz. Dre will be on here momentarily. You listen to the All Sports All Plays College Breakdown on the All Sports All Plays Network. We'll be right back after these messages.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. Gridiron the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. 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 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. Gridiron the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. 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 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. Gridiron the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Welcome back to the College Sports Breakdown. I'm Ray Cruz on the All Sports All Plays Network. I got my buddy coming here. Let's introduce the co-host from the Who's to Blame podcast, the man, the Gators, the big game today, the world largest cocktail party here in Jacksonville today, Georgia versus the Florida Gator. Himself, the man of the hour, Mr. Dre Montez. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, Ray? How we doing?
Doing good. How you doing, man?
Oh, better than good. It's college football Saturday. What could be better?
So, man, I know you got your new studios all going down in St. Louis. How's that working out for you? How was your first shows in there?
I haven't had it yet. The first show is this Monday. So looking forward to it.
Okay.
Starting this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, I'll be in the studio there.
Yeah, Mr. Dre Montez going big time. He's going big time on us now. He's got all kinds of sponsors. He's getting his apparels going. I'll be sending you your hat back here momentarily, probably this week. So you'll get that back so you can get your apparels going on. You know, you got to get the hairstyle just right. You got to get everything right. You got to get the Gator logos all over the place there with his show branding. You know, he's going big time. He's going Mr. Dan Patrick style on us.
That's too funny.
All right. So we've been away for about 3 weeks. I think the last time we were on here was week 8. So 2 weeks. Week 10 is coming up. So, I had some technical issues that 1 week, and then I had to be at work last weekend. So this weekend we're bringing it to you live here. So this is what we're looking at right now. This is the total after week 8. For the 6 games that we did, we went 4-2 in week 8. 328 to 103 to 304 to 127.
Gotcha.
Dre, you got a lot of catching up to do, man, in the next 2 to 3 weeks here. So you got a lot of games, man. You got a lot of games. You say go Gators.
This is not catch fire.
Today is going to be a tough game for you. We're going to break that down here momentarily. We got about 40 games to break down on Saturday, and we got a few week 11 games that we're going to be breaking down on next week. So we're going to get started here right away. So we won't keep everybody waiting because game times will be coming up. This week's are we only got 40 games this Saturday. It's kind of shallow Saturday, so you don't have to stay up late tonight. The last games are 8 o'clock at night, so you don't have to stay up past midnight.
That
so you can get your
incredible.
Don't forget today is change your clock back an hour when you go to bed, so you gain an hour of sleep. You go to bed before 2 o'clock. You got to be in bed before 2. Gain that hour of sleep.
I don't know anybody that goes to bed before 2 o'clock anymore.
Well, you ain't gonna have no college football game unless you're watching replays. But we're gonna get everything started here today. That's our totals right now. So how you been, Dre, man? You been good?
Oh yeah, man. Better than good. Had a great birthday. Halloween was good. My daughter's birthday is tomorrow, and we'll start the studio Monday. So I've been very excited the past 3 weeks. Sorry that we didn't have a show, but we had Mother Nature, and you had other obligations and work. But we're back at it right now. Hope we close out the season on a good positive note.
Yeah, we can do that now. We're going to go ahead and bring up the top 25 on the screen. There's rolling down at the bottom there. Oregon Ducks number 1, Georgia number 2, Penn State number 3, Ohio State number 4, Miami is at number 5 to rounds up the top 5. So no really big surprise except for Texas losing and dropping all the way down to number 6. But Vanderbilt has been a surprise all season long. So the SEC has been getting some good play out of their lower tier teams in Vanderbilt this year. You think the coach at Vanderbilt is now building that program to where it can sustain? Because, Franklin had that program whereas it is right now. Then it went down and it's back up to where Franklin had it. Can they sustain that thing at Vanderbilt coming off this great season?
I mean, Vandy has been getting a lot of negative talk the past few years because we were judging Vandy on where they were at one point, and there just seemed to be a decline. And then with the transfer portal, COVID, NIL situations in Vandy, focusing on other sports at that school and university at the moment, I think now they're buying into the actual program itself of the football program. Early on in the beginning of the season, Vandy didn't look as good as they do now. So I think they've learned a valuable lesson in believing in one another and following through with the actual game plan. If they can keep that up, Vandy's looking good to close out the SEC year for them.
Yeah, so I mean that's going to be a lot of things. It's going to make the SEC improve a little bit. Out of the two, what considered football power, Big Ten and the SEC. Right now, the Big Ten's up there, the SEC's up there. ACC's trailing a little bit behind. The Big 12 is trailing a little bit behind. Clemson and right now Miami's carrying the ACC right now as a big boy conference. So that's going to come down part to the ACC title there to find out who's going to make the playoffs for the ACC portion. How many teams in the playoffs coming up right now you think the SEC and the Big Ten is going to get into it and this 12-man team?
I was having this discussion last week, I believe, about the SEC. I do believe with the new college football playoff system format, I think we could have a 3-loss team in there. If there is a 3-loss team, it will have to come out of the SEC. That's what I believe. And I think the SEC could probably get 4 teams in the college football format, the new format that they have. I think the Big Ten, as we get closer to break time for the kids to come home for turkey break and all that, I think it kind of tilts us off a little bit. Usually some schools mess it up right before Halloween. Now you have those schools that mess up right around the holiday session, right about now. So between this weekend and next weekend, we could see it fall drastically in the Big Ten, I do believe.
Yeah, so now Oregon's number one ranked team. Is Oregon that team right now? Have they proved that point to be your team right now to win, favored to win the national championship?
I tell you what, Phil Knight had a wish list. He let everybody know at Oregon know what he wanted, a national championship. Guys, I'm giving you the credit card. I'm giving you the cash. I'm leaving the vault open. There's no secrets when it comes to financial support from Phil Knight and the folks at Oregon. At the same time, they show little hints where they can be a very, very dominant team with their speed, with the way they communicate with each other. And let's not mention the beautiful uniform combinations that they had, but there's more to a football program than uniform combinations. I think if they can look at some past film of the past few years and kind of dig into the trenches and understand what it means to play mistake-free football. We understand turnovers are part of the game, but not the turnovers that you are responsible for, not the penalties that you are responsible for. If they can play disciplined football, I can see Oregon possibly being in that situation of a national championship consideration. But again, they're one of those teams in that November window that I'm kind of eerie of, because the Boise States do it. The Washingtons do it. Penn State's done it before. We've been let down by teams that have given us a false identity starting out the season. And once November gets here, now we got an issue. So if they can get past that, meaning themselves, I think Oregon can possibly be in that situation where, hey, why can't we win a national championship? They've had better talented players on that team in years past, but could not get over the hump. This may be a coalition of good players and a good team.
Yeah, I agree with you too. Oregon in the past, November starts around, they start demising what they have done in September, October timeframe. Oregon's in that one team that we're always talking about that sputters in November timeframe. They final letdown game. But we got the Oregon and Michigan game today. Will that be a letdown today? We're going to discuss that later on. How about Georgia? Has Georgia found their footing right now? Are they going to be considered up there?
They're not consistent. I don't know which Georgia team we're going to get. I don't know. The slow start in Georgia, the fast start in Georgia, that we don't know what's going on. Kirby losing his damn mind on the sideline. I have yet to see Uga go out there and perform the way they have the past 2 years. That we put the expectations too high on that program this year? Because with the transfer portal NIL deals, opportunities open up for other schools and universities. They're not afraid of UGA anymore as they were the past 2 and 3 years. You can tell by the way they've faced them up this year. So they are a beatable team. They're not coming in as that dog would hunt type mentality that we're used and accustomed to seeing out of UGA. But still, it depends on how they start the game, because the way Georgia starts the game, just like Bama, you can pretty much dictate the outcome of the game.
Yeah, I agree with you on that too, on that little situation there. But what I'm getting to right now, number 3 and number 4 will play today. Penn State Nittany Lions and Ohio State Buckeyes today. This game's at 12 o'clock. We are getting ready for our college breakdown pick'em. When we come right back from these commercial breaks, we'll be doing our college breakdown pick'em. Can Dre make his ground up on me? This is the time to do it. Will I be the team to falter in November? We'll see in the pick'em as we come up back on the All Sports All Place college breakdown on the All Sports All Place network. We'll be right back.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making up plays. We're talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays. Like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. 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 365, we making a plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Welcome back to the All Sports All Plays College Breakdown. I am the host, Ray Cruz, on the All Sports All Plays Network. I'm going to bring my co-host back in, Dre, here. All right, Dre, we're getting ready for our college breakdown here segment of the day. We got 16 games, top 16 games that I think, or we think that it's going to be a good game here. We're going to start with this game here. Number 4, Ohio State, at number 3, Penn State, at high noon on Fox from Beaver Stadium and University Park, Pennsylvania. Is this the right time to play this game in the afternoon, or should this have been like an evening game type deal?
This game should have been evening time, and they know this game should have been evening time. There's no way this game should be played at 11 o'clock in the afternoon on the first Saturday in November. Shame on you, college football scheduling committee. Shame on you.
So this game is going to be in Penn State, Beaver Stadium. It's going to be over 100,000 people in this stadium. We know the electric atmosphere. They thinking it's going to be, I guess, a whiteout game. They didn't want to put it on national television at nighttime because somewhere TV station didn't like it. The all-white game being on in dark time. I don't know. That's the way they explain. That's the way they explain it to me.
Who are these people?
I talked to some of the people.
Get somebody on the phone. Who are these people? Who are these people? Goodness.
I don't know, man, but that's the way it was explained to me because I probed that question around some of the college experts, and they said that they didn't want it at nighttime. So
I swear,
that's a little bit of thing that we got a little bit. All right, so right now they got Ohio State favored by 4. Even though it's 6-1, 3-1 in conference play, it's 7-0 and 4-0 for Penn State. Is Penn State arrived? Will this game show if Penn State has arrived, and are they be one of the favorites of the Big Ten to get into the playoffs if they can win this game today?
This is, so to speak, like when Georgia finally beat Bama. This is that hump. This is their nemesis. This is the big brother. This is the bully. This is the one you have to beat to even make it seem like a real thing for Penn State. They need this victory more than anything. And I think college football needs it. Or a close game, or 5 overtime games, something like that. But Penn State needs this win bad. They're another team that has had some great players the past few years, but come around Halloween and that first or second week in November, we have a problem. But if they can get over this is a hell of a hump, though. This is a hell of a hump, but it's also a good competition game for them. But usually in years past, this is when the schedule gets soft for a lot of big-time schools. But this is a great matchup. But both of these teams have a little issue of getting out of the gate. So it's going to be interesting to see how the first quarter goes for this game. But, yes, I do believe, to answer your original question, that Penn State definitely needs this win to prove it to themselves and to prove it to Happy Valley.
Yeah, I look at it this way, too. The matchup predicted is 61% favor of Ohio State, but only 39% gives the chance to Penn State. But if you look at the stats, but both between the two quarterbacks, the running backs, and the wide receiver, they're pretty much equal. They're pretty much in the same line. But what's different with Penn State this year is their defense has been playing great. The offense has been slow out. Would you say both teams' offense has been coming slow out of the gates, but both teams' defense has been electrifying? This game could be a low-scoring game, or it could turn into a shootout. So which way do you think Penn State wants this to be, a low-scoring game or a shootout with Ohio State?
Well, they're getting their quarterback back today, I believe, who got hurt in the Wisconsin game earlier this year. So I think it's his first time facing the Ohio State. And as well, I think from the beginning and the blueprint that we have seen from Penn State this year, I think they're trying to bring back to remind folks, hey, this once was linebacker U. And the way they're playing on defense, I can support that statement and seeing them play back in the day when they were known as linebacker U. I like Penn State defense. But when you get out of character, things happen for the Ohio State's defense that turns it around really quick, meaning a scoop and score, a pick six.
Yeah, I mean, last time this game, the series record between the both teams, Ohio State leads the series 25-14. Ohio State's favored by 3.5 right now. But if you look at some of the thing here, this could be a second conference loss by the Buckeyes would likely knock them out of the Big Ten championship. So both teams are playing for this Big Ten championship game that can propel them into the college playoffs without having to wait and see if they can make it. So if this comes a second loss for Ohio State, does this really knock them out of the playoff contention?
If you don't make it to the Big Ten, well, with the committee and the selects committee being as distant as anything I've ever seen in my entire life before IRL in real life things, I could see them. It's like a team missing the SEC championship, but you still get in the playoff situation. I could see that happening for the Ohio State, but this has to be one of those games where they got to make forth an effort. Now, Penn State wins this game 35-3. I'm sorry, the Ohio State. You're not getting in. We're going to give you the Florida State treatment from last year. You should have known better. You should have prepared better for this game.
Yeah, if you look at this thing, too, if you look at the big key on the offensive side for Penn State is the big tight end, Tyler Warren. It doesn't matter who's quarterback, but right now the injury to Drew Eller is a little bit of a game time decision. I don't know if he's going to play at all. It doesn't matter what quarterback's back there because they got the big time tight end. How does Ohio State try to take the big tight end away?
Hit him hard early. That works in college football. Hitting them early, especially when they try to go across middle, that little 5 to 10 yard curl. They hit that. Them players that are doing that and the offensive coordinator calling those players are going to take heed to the situation. Hey, I can't have my guy getting hit like that. It's not Sunday, Monday or Thursday. It's Saturday college football. So they keep it right there, but there's going to be a hard-hitting game both sides. So it doesn't matter. Can one player just totally dominate the game against The Ohio State University? I don't think so at all. Not in this time and age, no. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, yes. But today, one player just dominating The Ohio State, no, it must be at least 3 to 5, a complete team effort to dominate them.
And when I look at this game, and when I took my notes in this ball game here, I look at the situation. Penn State has to run the football. They got to run it effectively. Because if they don't run effectively, that play action pass don't go, Allen doesn't go, the tight end doesn't go. You're going to make them one-dimensional. That's when Ohio State's defense is going to start pinning their ears back and sending the house to them. So they have to run the ball. They have to keep. Both teams really got to run the ball effectively. But Ohio State's got a little bit of better wide receiving core out there. How does Penn State try to take away the receivers core and try to make Ohio State play to their strength, which their run defense, Penn State has been great all year?
Well, they have a quarterback that's pretty good at the RPO. I watched them play a couple of games this year, the Ohio State, and they do have that in their weaponry of having that quarterback running. He does a good job running, has good field vision. He can orchestrate a good drive. But that comes with communication. That comes with that key phrase I'm going to use today. Self-discipline in this game of football today, because in weeks past, it's getting worse and worse and worse of the ill-advised penalties, the you should know better, what are you thinking, and the stupidity play. It's happening every weekend. We have yet to be weekend free of any of those phrases. But neither one of these teams are going to go out here and play a perfect game. Let's face it, it's a rival. They know each other well, the history, the pageantry, the fans, the student body, the location. And the fact that it's only 11 o'clock, all that's going to get put into a blender. We're going to get one hell of a game. I like what you're saying, low scoring. I want that other than a shootout. Show me what you can do in the trenches, the Ohio State. Show me what you can do with the lead, Nittany Lions. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I agree with that too. To me, I like defensive games better than the offensive games because then you'll see what team is really great on that both ends, the offense and the defense. But if it turns into a high scoring game, that takes away nullifying the defensive side, and then you got to find that one stop in the game to try to turn the game around. And sometimes that's kind of hard when you do a shootout. It could go down to who's got the ball last too in this ball game. So
Well, I wouldn't mind
that's a
seeing a
little bit of
blowout.
thing.
A blowout would be fun. If Penn State beats the Ohio State 41-3, that means you put your foot in there. That means somebody said something online and somebody took it personal when it happens that way. Don't give them anything to feed off of, folks. Stay off the internet.
Yeah, that too. So, yeah, I mean, internet, social media, Twitter, and all that plays in the factors between fans, and sometimes it plays a factor between athletes too, because they see some of the fan says and they put them in there and then throw it around the whole locker room. So, and I mean, they all got pads now.
Opposing players getting on each other on IG and all. It's just to the point, as Coach said last week. Stay off social media. Don't give them any more energy than they need for next week's matchup. If everybody could remember that, oh boy, oh my, wouldn't we smile a whole lot?
Yeah. So who are you taking in this contest?
I'm taking the Ohio State. I like that 3.5, 4.5 point situation right there. I really like that. But I still want to see a great football game. I want to see a good football game.
I'm taking the upside there. Penn State is going to take the hump today. It's going to be a close game, probably by a field goal. So I think Penn State's got it because it's playing at home, and Beaver Stadium is a tough place to play.
Nobody makes a Beaver angry. That's right. Beaver.
So that's what I got on that one. All right, let's move right along. Duke goes into Miami at number 5 at the Hard Rock Stadium where the Miami Dolphins play in Miami Gardens, Florida today. Miami is ranked number 5, looking for their first time to win the ACC conference since joining the ACC. It's just a long time waiting for Miami. Does Miami have the chance to win in this conference?
Miami has been through a lot with that football program. And to see how it has made the transition, the turnaround, and to get the buy-in from a transfer, that tells you a lot about the coaching staff. That tells you a lot about the program. That tells you a lot about the characters on that team within that locker room. What Miami has been able to do, if you follow the ACC, it's very shocking. If you follow college football as a whole, the top 25, you're impressed what Miami has been able to do. And Cam Ward, man, look here. Him and Travis may have to hold that Heisman Trophy together. Because they both, but Cam Ward, man, how this man just goes on to a new team, and we can't work out the way we used to back in the day, all these safety measures and protocols when it comes to practicing and meeting with the kids and one-on-ones and all of that. It's very limited. So his football IQ must be very high, or he's a very coachable kid, or they're making the game that learnable for him. They're making it very easy for him because watching him quarterback, Ray, this man, I have yet to see him panic by the look in his eyes, trying to hurry up and get out of bounds. He's calming his players down more than anything on busted plays that we deem. He barely misses a guy on a crazy throw. He's calming them down. Hey, we got this, guys. He has such great poise. I'm impressed by this program this year. Very.
Yeah, and then you got Manny Diaz on the other side of Duke University, who is right now Duke is 6-2, 2-2 in conference play. They're only giving them 9% chance to win in this game down in Miami, 91% for Miami doing this game. But Duke has to watch out for Ward and Respro, the wide receiver who has 43 receptions, 710 yards, and 6 touchdowns through the week up to week 10 here. But also Miami has to watch out because Miami's defense has given up some big runs, and Thompson is a beast back there for Duke at 151 carries, 681 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Manny Diaz has to make this into a running game, has to make it where they're winning time possession. If Miami gets on the field too many times and Duke is not winning at time possession, it's going to be a long day for the Duke's defense. With Ward back there having all day to pass. They got to get pressure on him too.
The one thing I don't like about Ward, well, I'm not going to say like, the one thing I think they need to pay attention to, especially Duke, is when Ward play breaks down. He's holding the ball like Lamar Jackson. He's holding the ball like Kyler Murray. That one hand running with the ball out for anybody just come by and hit it out. That's the only thing I think he really needs to work on in his game. If he does that against Duke and Duke does not pick up on that, I can see a lot of turnovers in the first half of this game going Duke's way.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of key in this. College football berth is in play here. The ACC championship is in play for Miami. Duke's trying to avoid the falling below the 500 mark in ACC play. That's on the thing for Duke's side. Manny Diaz and Miami coach Cristobal. Manny Diaz was the Miami head coach, so that's a little bit of a factor there when he was at Miami. So they got two Cuban Americans raised in Miami. Cristobal replaced Diaz when the Hurricanes fired him in December 2021. Cristobal is 20-13 at Miami. Diaz is 21-15 overall in college football. So that's a little bit of a key stat there. But you also, what I'm talking about is Star Thomas, the running back for Duke, is a workhorse. He has counted for 681 of Duke's 885 rushing on the ground this season. So Duke's got to have to rely on the ground game. Miami's defense has got to be stout. But if Duke can control the game on the ground, then Duke has a chance in this ball game. So that's what we got to look at here. How does Miami try to take away? Miami's got to introduce a running game. They got to introduce back that running game. Try to take a little bit of pressure off Ward. If they can't run the ball, then Duke's going to peer their ears back and try to come after Ward. But also Ward's good with his legs too. So you have to watch. You have the pocket containment, and you got to have your defensive lineman step up in that pocket when he steps up in that pocket. So that's going to be interesting. How does Duke get pressure on Ward?
If I'm Duke, I'm gonna try to piss off Miami the entire game. Let's get these personal fouls. Let's get these ejections because Miami cannot control their emotions at all. And they're at home. I mean, Michael Irvin gonna be there, amp them up even more. If Miami is too emotional, I got personal foul at least 6. Give me the over with personal fouls. Duke needs to play Duke football. Play Duke football. Just go out there and play the game. Let the game take over. Don't go out there and say, hey, we're going to stop Cam Ward. We're going to shut them down. Receivers, we're going to press them. We're going to make them run against our defense the way we want them to. I wouldn't try that because of the coaching history of both coaches with Duke and Miami as they flop schools, and not a bad record, of course, for flopping if you break it down to its purest form. But if I'm Duke, I'm not going into this game saying, okay, maybe we can win it by position. Where are we strongest at on position, going them piece by piece? We can look at it that way. We can look at it who has the better special teams because Duke can kick it. Miami can kick it as well. Who has the better secondary and who has the better discipline when they have the ball or going or on defense? Who's the more disciplined team? Because I got a feeling the flags are going to be flying aplenty for them Canes.
Yeah, and I look at it too. It's very interesting that it's coming here. Miami wide receiver Xavier Respo is 120 yards shy of matching Santana Moss' school record for receiving yards, 2,547, and it's 8 receptions away from Mike Harley Jr.'s record for receptions as a Hurricane, 182. So that could be a play too. They know this is coming in the playbooks. Could that, chasing those stats right there, could that force Ward to try to force the ball into Respo, and it could turn in some interceptions for Duke because, Duke's probably also looking at these reports too, seeing who's got what kind of record they're trying to set. Duke could try to force them into some plays. I mean, Manny Diaz is a good defensive coach. He's got the defense disguise. Can he disguise a defense where it looked like Respo is open, Ward goes to him, and next thing you know, it's an interception?
Well, I look at it like this. Coach probably already said in the game plan, the quarterback coach, the offensive coordinator, the head coach as well, and Cam Ward, as well as the receiver, probably all got together. Hey, if we see these type of looks and matchups, okay, But if it's not there, we're not going to force it. We're trying to win this game to prepare for the ACC championship. That's why I can see that conversation going. Now, if Miami was not in the position that they're in, let's say they're eating ass like they did 2 years ago, barely surviving the basement of the ACC. If it's that situation, I guarantee the first 10 plays a ball going to him. But not now. I don't think a team would be that selfish right now.
Yeah, I look at it this way here. This is something interesting in this series here. The road team has won 5 of the last 6 games in the series. Miami went 13-1 against Duke from 1983 to 2017. Duke is 3-2 against Miami since. Since the start of 2018 season, Duke is 31-2 with a 939 winning, holding teams to 21 or fewer points, 10-39 overwise. This season, Duke is 6-0 when holding teams to 21 or less. Can they hold Miami to 21 or less points today?
That'd be a no, sir. But I don't want Miami to be in the Halloween hangover and the Duke take advantage of that. I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to be an excuse coming out of the announcer's mouth this afternoon during this game. But again, if Duke beats them, I don't think it'll be an upset because of the two coaches, the record against each other, and it's the ACC. I think it'll be a surprising or a shocking win, but not an upset if Duke beats Miami. But I don't see Duke beating Miami today. I can see a close game within 10 points, but not a blowout. Because it's a blowout, and then Miami's going to sit everyone if it's one of those situations. I think Cam Ward needs those Heisman numbers. So if he can put up like 365 to 380, at least 3 touchdowns, I think he's really going to light up the Heisman watch board.
Yeah, if you look at it, Duke is 3-31-2 all time against the top 5 opponent, 0-21 since 1960. Miami is 3-3 in the last 6 games as a top 5 over the last 20 years. So that's a little bit of interesting stat. Who are you taking in this ball game?
I'm taking them Canes.
Yeah, I'm taking Miami in this one too. I just can't do it with Duke, man. I don't know what team is going to show up. They're like a Heckle and Jai team, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to my Duke fans, but that's what I'm going on that one. So, all righty. Next one coming up, number 19, Ole Miss at Arkansas at high noon on ESPN from Razorback Stadium in Fayetteville, Arkansas. This game could be a trap game for number 19 Ole Miss if they take Arkansas lightly. Arkansas has played pretty good this year. They're 5-3, 3-2 in the SEC. Ole Miss is 6-2 and 2-2 in the SEC. So this is a battle. Some SEC's danger to keep Ole Miss in that battle for that chance to get into the championship game. They got to win these games out. Can Lane Kiffin get them going, or as you think Lane Kiffin is thinking that Florida job is going to come open, he might end up taking himself and not really paying attention to Ole Miss the rest of the season?
I don't like the stories that are coming out of Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, so I don't want that type of nonsense with my Florida football Gators with the allegations as the SEC president put out about these fake injuries that are coming out of the SEC, and Ole Miss is leading the pack in that. So I hope they clean that nonsense up. They got to clean that up. In the Ole Miss situation with the expectation of that program, they're not living up to it. The expectation was for Ole Miss to be undefeated right now. Those were the expectations coming in with Mr. Kiffin and that football team and the preseason video game. Matter of fact, can we please stop having teams do preseason hype videos? You can do a uniform video, but don't hype us up on you got a squad this year and you're going to do all this. And then it come time to play the game and we all scratching our head. No, that's not what that is for. So if Ole Miss is Ole Miss back to reality yet? And I love the fact that this game is in Arkansas. If you're scoring at home, Arkansas, shout out to my family. I like the way Arkansas been playing ball this year. They've been playing a little nasty offense, little nasty defense. As a whole, they're not consistent, but I like what they're putting on the gridiron.
Yeah, I look at this 2 different ways here. You got all the reports for Lane Kiffin. You got all the injury reports. Let's talk a little bit about the injuries here that Ole Miss does. You see them go down half the time in the fourth quarter because they got cramps. To me, we get
Tip
into
was used.
cold weather. We get into cold weather. I mean, the heat produces the cramp, not the cold weather. So to me, when they do these injury things, I think instead of having them sit out one play, I think they should have sit out a minimum of 3 plays. Then that might cost them. Hey, like you can't keep doing that because you're gonna lose 3 plays with your athletes. That one your starting athletes out there. That could force one way to make sure it is a true injury, not a fake injury. Have them sit out three plays. That's the only way you're gonna stop it because they can sit out and then they come immediately right back in. You know they won't hurt that bad if they come immediately right back in. But you can't really tell the injuries if it's a true injury or not. So it's something that they gonna have to police and have to find out if it's fake injuries or not like that. So that's another thing about college football that's got to be cleaned up too. But Ole Miss and the reports of Lane Kiffin going to Florida, I think it's going to throw them off the last couple games. They got to put that out of their minds. They got to go and focus on Arkansas. If you don't focus on Arkansas, Arkansas will come up and tag you in the butt with that defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, how does Ole Miss battle the Arkansas's defense today? How do they get back to the old Ole Miss playing before they lost these 2 games?
Be careful throwing that ball because them corners can get at it. They got that half step. They got that rabbit speed. They got them Razorbacks on that defense. But there is no, how can I put this with Ole Miss? Ole Miss needs to go back to the original program of trying to play and come into the season as a good football team. Do what you present at a hype video. Do all of that. I've yet to see it. It's a lot of confusion going on the sideline. There's a lot of people pulling their hat up and scratching their head at the same time. So that lets me know one thing. Communication is a factor. Like any relationship that's being tested, communication is key. And if they want this relationship to work with Ole Miss, they have to communicate better. I don't know if it's upstairs. I don't know if it's the sideline. I don't know if it's the helmet. I don't know if it's the Wi-Fi. But Ole Miss needs to figure it out.
Yeah, I look at this too. And the interesting thing about this game here today for Ole Miss, you got number 2 Georgia coming up next. You can't overlook Arkansas. Well, you think Lane Kiffin has told his team not to overlook Arkansas today?
I think all coaches tell their players that, but you know how players talk among themselves. Have these guys played against each other, grew up with one another, know each other from some type of way. Somebody is thinking, hey, we got these boys. And then when that game starts, certain plays happen. A missed block here, a misread here, that game can turn around fast. 0-0 can go to 21-0 real fast in college football.
Yeah, so I mean, Ole Miss last week had Trey Harris, who missed last week's game against Oklahoma with a leg injury. He still leads the team in receptions with 59 catches, 987 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Rebels locating say he's probably the best wide receiver in the country. He expects to be healthy for this game. So that's another thing you got to look out for. Arkansas quarterback Taylor Green gets rolling. They are Razorbacks do only Vanderbilt's Diego Pavia has more yards from that position in the SEC. So that's another thing for Green. Green has to get going. How does Green prevail this Arkansas offense against Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss defense?
Play my game, coach. Let me play my game, coach. I'm taking what's given to me. I'm not going out there to try to take nothing. Let's take what's given to us. See, a lot of people come out offensively in these high-powered matchups trying to prove something to us or the announcers or the outsiders watching in, trying to do something they know they shouldn't be doing. Take what the defense is giving to you. If you see that left side is not being paid attention to, why are you going right? Things of that nature. Sometimes the obvious is right in front of you. You don't need the coaches to talk to you. You've been playing the game long enough. You know how to communicate when something is going a positive way for your team that nobody else can see. We know it. And if they can do that, this game could be the difference maker in this game.
Yeah, I know there's a couple of things. Ole Miss has won just one time in Fayetteville since 2008 when former Arkansas head coach Houston Nutt was coaching the Rebels and Petrino was running the program for Arkansas. So that's another little bit of tidbits there on that. So Ole Miss, Arkansas has split the last 14 meetings at 7 wins apiece. 2 of Ole Miss victories in the series have since been vacated after the NCAA found several violations under coach Hugh Freeze. Ole Miss quarterback Jason Dart is currently on pace to set the school record for passing in a single season. So that's a little bit of tidbits there. Who are you taking in this ball game?
Let me go with the old family favorite, Arkansas. Give it to me.
I got Ole Miss in this one. So we are now 2 games that we're not agreeing upon. We have 1 game that we do agree upon, that Miami and Duke game. Other games we are against each other. So that gives you 2 games to catch up on me if you can pull these wins out on this week. So we'll keep tidbits on that too. All righty, my friend. Our next game before we go to the commercial break is Air Force at number 21 Army at noon on CBS/Paramount Plus from Minchie Stadium at West Point, New York, and the home of the Army. Army is 21. We know Navy's already got a victory against Air Force. Army has to win today against Air Force. If Air Force can win today, Navy is taking home the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. No way Army can get it unless Army beats Navy. That's the only way you can do it.
So there are 2 scenarios at this game. Air Force wins, the Navy gets the Commander's Cup. Or when the Army
beats Navy, then it'll be tied. Then they will have to split the cup.
So they have to play the Army-Navy game in December.
Yep. They still got to play it anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now the question is for that, and another tidbit too. How about a Navy and Army still ends up in the Conference Championship of America Conference?
That's what I would like to see. I really will. I want to see them play back-to-back. I would love to see it in a conference and as well as the Army-Navy game. It'll be a lot of fun.
It will be back-to-back games.
I love it.
On that one. So today on the Air Force, how does Air Force try to upset the number 21 ranked team Army in today's contest?
I haven't seen any Army highlights, just their uniforms all year, but I've seen Air Force play. And Air Force has always been able to light it up. Out of all the armed forces schools, Air Force was the only one that was, to me, running, throwing the ball, had actual game plan, little trickery, little RPOs, and they're still doing that. If they can light up that left side of the field with that receiver, I can't think of his name, I can see him having some big numbers today for Air Force.
All right. Since you said that, let's take a comparison of the 2 quarterbacks. Bushhaw for Air Force is 29 out of 79, 415 yards and 1 touchdown, 5 interceptions. Daly for Army is 27 out of 47, 629 yards and 7 touchdowns. Army is passing the football and running the football this year.
Good. Finally.
So that's going to be a little bit of thing here, but they still got Daly as the quarterback who is leading the team as rushing for 138 carries for 909 yards and 19 touchdowns. So he's a dual threat quarterback at back there. But Quentin Smith, what you talking about, Air Force wide receiver, he's got 11 receptions, 216 yards and 1 touchdown. He has to be a key factor. Reynolds also has to be a key factor for Air Army with 10 receptions, 293 yards and 3 touchdowns. So we're going to have can the Air Force really come out? They only give them 5.2% chance to win in this ball game out of 94.8% chance. Can Army really come in? Can the Air Force really come into Army at West Point and pull this upset today? Really?
For me not to see Army play at all this year, just the highlights on the uniforms and things of that nature, I know for sure that Army and Navy are different teams this year by the way the offensive production has been going. Air Force, on the other hand, I've never heard them do really great things on the defense. I always hear about the offense and the special teams. Now, if Army can keep up the same play they've been having all year, that could throw a little confusion to Air Force because I don't think Air Force would be expecting that either in their game plan preparations. But overall, I want to see a true armed forces matchup in this game. I do not want to see a blowout in this game here. I want to see the true dynamics of that Army offense. I'm going to watch this game today. I want to see them run the ball, throw the ball. I want to see some defensive play, special teams play. I want to see all aspects of a football game and a breakdown when I'm watching that game today.
Yeah, here's the scenario they got up. Army opens up its defense as the Commander-in-Chief's trophy winner. A victory over Air Force sets up a winner-take-all outing against Navy, which beat Air Force 34-7 last month for the CIC trophy. On December 14th in Landover, Maryland, the undefeated Black Knights looks to extend their nation's best winning streak to 12 games dating to last season. Air Force can extend a 6-game losing streak. They want to end that 6-game losing streak here. So they on a 6-game losing streak. One team's on a high, one team's on a low. But Air Force linebacker Ortiz Ali will need to be active and effective inside if he wants to slow Army's ground game going. That's going to be the key there. So, and also Tyree Robinson, who made his season debut in a win over East Carolina, the senior who has a game-breaking speed, is one of the 12 players in the academic history to surpass 3,000 yards, all-purpose yards, after one carry last game. Robinson could play a bigger role today. They've been without their leading rusher all season. He debuted against East Carolina. So who you're taking in this ball game?
I'm taking Army in this one.
You taking Army? Yeah, I have to agree with you too. I don't think Air Force has enough weapons really to shut them down. And they're playing at Army, West Point, the old defending champions of the thing. So when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be breaking down Vanderbilt, Auburn, number 1 Oregon at Michigan, Florida, and number 2 Georgia, and number 13 Indiana at Michigan State. We'll be breaking all those games down when we come back on the All Sports All Plays College Breakdown on the All Sports All Plays Network. I'm Ray and that's Dre. We'll be right back after these messages.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making a plays. We're talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the air, we're taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. 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 365, we're making a plays. We're talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the air, we're taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. 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 365, we're making a plays. We're talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the air, we're taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. 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 365, we're making a plays. We're talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the air, we're taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Welcome back to the All Sports All Plays College Breakdown. I am Ray Cruz on the All Sports All Plays Network. Let's go ahead and bring my co-host back in here. Big Dre Montez, go Gators. He's got the big game. We're going to be breaking down his game coming up here momentarily. So, my friend, we talked about Vanderbilt early in the show. We got him coming up here. Vanderbilt is on the collision at Auburn in Jordan-Hare Stadium at 12:45 p.m. on the SEC Network in Auburn, Alabama. How does Vanderbilt go on the road and get a win today in Auburn?
Their quarterback is special. He's special. He kind of reminds me of a cross of Drew Brees in college and a little bit of Danny Warfel in college combined. He's tough. He can take a hit. He's very cocky. He's committed, and he loves the game of football. And I think for his style of play and his upbringing, Vandy is the perfect spot for him. They're not in a situation to be like an undefeated situation, but this would be a good team win for them to beat Auburn, because Auburn is not that good of a football team this year.
How long do you think it's taking Hugh Freeze to rebuild Auburn's program back to where Auburn was into that national caliber when they had Cam Newton there?
Man, I give him one more year. I give him one more year. Because this is his first year there, right?
The second.
Second? Yeah, I give him one more year. I give him one more year. Yeah. Yeah, give me one more year, and that program should be – they should buy into what he's selling by next year. They should buy into what he's selling. Because he's in the recruiting stream right there in Alabama. So I don't know what the issue is. Can't get the players he wants and needs. Is he a fan of the transfer portal? What's the NIL situation like that down there? And are there any other consequences going through with him after leaving Arkansas program that he's still facing behind the scenes?
Yeah, and I look at this too, and this matchup predictor is kind of funny because Auburn is 3-5, 1-4 in conference play. Vanderbilt Commodores are 5-3, 2-2 in conference play. They have Auburn favored to win 63.1% to 36.9%. It's still a disrespecting to Vanderbilt's program.
Who came out with those numbers?
That's the matchup predictor on ESPN.
Man, Auburn has not played good football, convincing football quality of the SEC standard this year. But all of a sudden, they're favored by 63% to beat Vandy. Erroneous.
Yep. I mean, if you look at it here, I mean, the numbers still favors better in the interception ratio, touchdown wise, but Thorne for Auburn has 114 out of 184 for 1,586 yards, 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Piva is 118 out of 183 for 1,534 yards and 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But what we're looking here is Piva also leads to Commodores in rushing with 134 carries for 537 yards and 4 touchdowns. But their running back Hunter has 120 carries for 863 yards and 5 touchdowns. I couldn't talk there for a moment. But you look at the 2 wide receivers, they're pretty much a little bit much even, but an advantage to Lambert Smith for Auburn with 30 receptions for 579 yards and 7 touchdowns. How does Thorne maintain that defense? Because if you look at the defense for Auburn, man, they've been playing great. They beat Alabama 40-35. They beat Kentucky 20-13. They beat Ball State 24-14. Then they turn around and play Texas, lost to Texas 27-24. I mean, they've been in every ball game here. Even that 2 overtime loss against Missouri at 30-27. They have not been blown out this year. They have been in contests. Their defense has been playing great. They have a good thing going. Can Vanderbilt continue this today? Can they continue against Auburn, even though they have – I don't know why they got them Auburn favored, because I've been watching some of the Auburn football games, and they've been lackluster on defense. They've been lackluster on offense. Sometimes they look lost out there. How does all this turn into about for Vanderbilt today? Can Vanderbilt go into Jordan-Hare Stadium and actually come out with a victory today?
On the Auburn side, I've seen a lot of bad decisions made by the quarterback. Throwing across his body. Throwing with 3 people in his face, just throwing the ball up. Throwing the ball when you shouldn't throw the ball. Know when to throw the ball out of bounds, know when to slide, know when to get out of bounds, things of that nature. Auburn's defense and offense, the ill-advised penalties that just really just kill a drive or really puts the defense in a bad situation, things of that nature. On the other side of the ball, you got Vandy. They got a spark with that quarterback. They got a spark with the student body. They got a spark within themselves. When you win a game that nobody thinks you should win, gonna win, and you do win, it does great things for the players of that team and the coaching staff as well, because nothing changes. They stay within the game plan. They stay within their skill set. If Vandy can do that, a winnable close game. But the moment they go outside of that box, doing something they haven't done all year, showboating, going away from the run, want to do more passing than running, that's when you're trying to do things that's not normally common for a football program. And when you do that, you lose big. And then after the game, it gets the awkward press conference. Well, Coach, what happened out there today? Well, what do you think happened out there today? We lost, but that wasn't your typical style of football. So if Vandy can stay within the restraints of playing Vandy football, what they've been doing this season, they should win this game. Auburn's defense and offense, if they can stop being their own demons of each other, stopping drives, keeping drives alive because of ill-advised plays and flags, Auburn can win this game.
Yeah, I look at certain things and certain key points in that situation too. Here, they said this is a matchup of SEC most surprising team, which is Vanderbilt, and one of the most disappointing team in Auburn. Do you think Auburn has been a disappointment this season? Did you have high hopes for Auburn this season?
Yes, sir. Across the board. Across the board. When you're a coach with a name like that and a coaching resume is like that, going to a school in that location, come on now, what more do we need you to do? What more do you need us to do? We've given you everything you need. What's the problem? Yes, very disappointing season for Auburn. Very disappointing.
And another thing, too, and this is interesting, Auburn has won all 9 meetings in the series at home. Vandy has 9 current players and coaches who were part of New Mexico State win at Jordan-Hare Stadium last season. Pivot also ran for 3 touchdown pass for another 3 in New Mexico State 2022 win over Liberty team, who's coached by Hugh Freeze, who is now the Auburn coach. So that's some familiarities here. You got 9 players from New Mexico State on this team that knows how to win Jordan-Hare Stadium. That could show Vandy a way, and the way the coaching is coached this year. Can Vandy keep this? Can this run this momentum into next season? That's going to have to be the thing here. They got to keep winning out if they want to keep these momentum going and hopefully get some recruits in there to where they can sustain this momentum. You see what happened with Ron Franklin. He got good. Penn State come calling. How long would this coach be at Vanderbilt if he keeps turning this program around?
I mean, Vandy's a great program. They got support. They got a booster club that's amazing. They're making improvements all around with that whole sports program there. I wouldn't be in such a hurry to leave Vandy, knowing what we have been through and seeing where we're at and the capabilities and possibilities of where this football program can go is all in the players' hands right now and the coaches that are there.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tell test coming in here. So who you got winning today's ball game?
I'm going the other route, man. I'm going Vandy. I'm going to Nash Vegas.
Yeah, I got Vanderbilt winning this ball game too. Let's go ahead and do a quick rapid fire here. Minnesota at number 24, Illinois. Who you got?
Illinois.
I'm going to take an upset. I'm going with Minnesota in this one. You got Maine at Oklahoma. Who are you taking?
Boom. Oklahoma.
Taking Oklahoma too. Northwestern at Purdue. Who you got?
Give me Northwestern.
I'm going to take Purdue. You got Northwestern there. Stanford goes into the Carter Fielding Stadium at North Carolina State at 12 o'clock, ACC Network. Who you got?
I don't know what's going on with Stanford. Give me NC State.
Taking NC State. I'm going to go the other route. I'm going to go with Stanford in this one. Virginia Tech at Syracuse. Who you got?
Oh, Vatech.
I'm taking Vatech in this game also. Buffalo at Akron. Who you got?
Akron.
Taking Akron over the Buffaloes. I'm taking the Buffaloes on this one. Toledo at Eastern Michigan. Who you got?
Toledo.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Toledo on that one too. Memphis at UTSA. Who you got?
Memphis.
Taking Memphis. I'm gonna take Memphis in this one too. Old Dominion goes into Appalachian State. Who you got?
App State.
I'm gonna take App State too. Boone's gonna be rocking today, especially that hurricane came through. They're still cleaning up in the mountain areas. Still got prayers out for all the people up in the mountains of North Carolina and that devastation hurricane. Tell us at UAB. Who you got?
Who was UAB playing?
Tulsa.
Oh, give me Tulsa.
Taking Tulsa. I'm gonna take UAB in this one. All right, my friend. The next game we're going to get up here to LB, the number 1 Oregon Ducks at number, well, it ain't number, Michigan, the defending champion Michigan at 3:30 p.m. on CBS/Paramount Plus from Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan, known as the Big House. Can Oregon go in there and still dominate where they've been dominating all season long at the Big House? This is going to be a tough place to play. You know, Michigan's always been a tough place to play. Can Oregon go in there and run the Ducks' offense against the Michigan's defense today?
I do believe so. I think Michigan is a little butthurt. You know, they had high expectations on themselves. Michigan wanted to be undefeated this part of the season right now, but they're not. So I think now they're more focusing on their health and getting ready for next year. They're not taking this game as serious as they would like to. But Oregon needs to come here knowing that they need to come here and play Oregon-style football. The speed and the communication and the discipline must be on display for that football program to come out there. If they give Michigan a bloody bludgeon, that's going to speak volumes across the college football world. If Oregon can go in there and do that.
Now, if you're looking at the Heisman Trophy running right now, Dalen Gabriel, the quarterback for Oregon, is in the hunt. He's got about the same stat as Ward does. Them two are neck to neck right now in the Heisman voting. If Oregon keeps winning out, does that give Gabriel the limb up on Ward as the Heisman Trophy winner?
I mean, that was one of the discussions I had a couple of weeks ago. Does your record matter in the Heisman Trophy? Does your record matter? Can a team come off a subpar 500 team and win the Heisman Trophy? I don't think so. I really don't. I think your record does matter. But as far as the race, I think it's Travis, then Ward, then Gabriel. I think that's the way I'm scoring it right now. Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, and Gabriel. That's the way I'm scoring a long shot with Shedeur Sanders right there. But if they know this, when they know that the push, whether it's the student body, whether it's the coaching staff, whether it's your teammates, there is a push, a campaign push for the Heisman race. And this is the month to shine for the Heisman. You may have 5 to 6 athletes right now that are Heisman consideration. But this could be that matchup for Gabriel, that game, that spotlight to really do it. Because that running back for Boise State, it's too bad his games come on after 9 o'clock at night. It's too bad nobody is seeing that kid really run. They only really seeing him and hearing about him in highlights. But Oregon can really be that dog today against the Wolverines at the Big House. That's huge to go in the Big House and win. Talk to App State. Not many people have done it, but those that have done it that did not have the high expectations or the ranking or the street credit to go in there and beat them, I guarantee them players still remember that game. They still remember.
Yeah, I agree with you too. And another thing too is Michigan has to have Warren not throw interceptions. If they throw interceptions in the Duck defense, backs, they're fast enough to return it back to the house. Mistakes like that could turn into pick 6. We could see a blowout of the Big House. Warren has 6 interceptions on the year, only 3 touchdowns. He has more interceptions than he does touchdowns in this ball game. But also they got to worry about Oregon's got to worry about Mullins, who's the running back for Michigan, who has 123 carries, 694 yards, and 7 touchdowns. And then you also got to remember Loveland, the outside wide receiver, 42 receptions, 411 yards, and 4 touchdowns. But also now you want to flip it back. You still got to watch out for Gabriel. You got to watch out for James, who has 136 carries for 800 yards and 8 touchdowns. And you also got to watch that for their outstanding wide receiver. We got 63 receptions for 638 yards and 8 touchdowns. But also Michigan has that good cover corner on their team. They can cover, probably put him on Johnson, try to take Johnson away so other people have to step over Oregon. What does Michigan want? How do Michigan want to try to take the offense away from? Do they want to take Gabriel away or do they want to take James away in this ball game? They got to take something away. Which one can they take away in this ball game?
With Michigan style defense versus actuality, the history of Michigan defense versus actually how they're playing this year, and knowing they're going up against Oregon and the speed of Oregon and the football IQ of Gabriel, I just don't see Michigan having the advantage defensively in playing this type of offense. They're going to put forth the effort, do some different looks, some switches, some different presentations of trying to disguise things, maybe give Gabriel something he hasn't seen this year or before he did the transfer, but let him see a different look of the defense. Don't make it so easy for them to pick up on what type of defensive scheme that you're trying to run against Oregon's offense. If Michigan can do that, disguise the defense a little bit better, in the offense, get that running game going early because they have that bowling ball type of sputter start sometimes in the first half of the first 2 possessions of the game. They usually don't get there clicking until like the 5th or 6th possession on the second quarter. If they can get that run established early, it could cause some confusion, probably for Oregon. Hey, they're eating up time off the clock. They're moving down the field, and they're giving us something we did not prepare for in this level of them running the ball that much.
Yeah, if you look at it, too, this is what's at stake. Oregon has a chance to go 9-0 for the first time in 2012. The last season, it was number 1 in the AP top 25. To stay in that position to earn the top seeding in the college football playoffs, the defending champion Wolverines has had an underwhelming season, and upset would provide a desperately needed boost for their thing. But warning against Oregon defense, Michigan's pass game has been shaky this season. It will have suddenly sharp to compete with the Ducks. So they got to move the ball with the Ducks. They got to compete with the Ducks. They got to move the Ducks. They got to score with the Ducks. Field goal is not going to cut with Michigan in this ball game. It has to be touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even though you're in the big house, Michigan, Oregon Ducks is 14.5-point favorite in this ball game. Michigan does lead the series 3-2. So a lot of people thought this offense would not match into the Big Ten style of play. But Oregon has succeeded that. They're number 1 ranked team in the nation. They're 8-0, 5-0 in the conference play for the first time in the Big Ten this year. First season, you have to think Dylan Gabriel, his 6th-year player who previously played at Oklahoma and Central Florida, ranks number 2 in the NCAA with 175 career touchdowns, 143 passing touchdowns, and 18,401 yards total offense. He's 4 TDs away from breaking former Houston Cougars Case Keenum's NCAA mark. It took him 6 years to do it. Case Keenum did it in 4. So, So that's what you're looking at here. Oregon is 7-1 as a top-ranked team. The Ducks, who beat number 2 Ohio State by 1 point, have a route 5 of their last 6 opponents. Oregon has beat then number 20 Illinois 38-9 last week. Gabriel was 18 out of 26, 291 yards and 3 passing touchdowns. Ran for a score against the Flying Alumni, so he is a dual threat. The Wolverine coach, Sharon Moore, said his plan is to start Davis to give Alex Orea some snaps. You got to match up with 2 quarterbacks. You got Orea, who's a running threat quarterback, and you got Warren, who is a passing quarterback, but they also plan to play Davis. So we don't know what he is right now. But Michigan is 3-6, 3-16-1 against number 1 teams within the last win in 1984 against Miami defensive end. Terrell Stewart ranks 3rd in the country with an average of 1.6 tackles per loss. So he has to be in that backfield today. So does Oregon come away with the win today?
The Oregon Ducks kind of remind me of Mizzou when they came into the SEC going undefeated. And Oregon is playing with that type of tenacity and inspiration with that team. And I like the way Oregon looks on the field, the way they move the ball. I can see Oregon going to the big house winning this game. Give me the Ducks. How with the Duck?
I got the I got the flying duck, the flying V from the Mighty Ducks. So we're gonna see I would like to see a flying V formation in college football.
How
Try
can
to
you
make it look
legally
like a
do
V
that?
formation, but
How
you
can
can't
you
really do it
legally do
because you
that?
got to have 10 men on the line.
Yeah, you can't legally do it.
Yeah,
You can do the
that would be kind of
annexation of
awesome
Puerto
if we
Rico.
could.
You can call
They
that
could.
play the annexation of Puerto
Yeah,
Rico from Little Giants.
that'd
You
be
can call
something
that.
there. All right, my friend, we are getting to the point where we're going to be talking about your team now. Florida at number 2, Georgia at 3:30 p.m. from Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida, where I'm located at right now. I am in Jacksonville, and I do have tickets for this game because Florida State didn't want to give any fans for North Carolina tickets to their game. So I am here at this game today at 3:30 at Everbank Field in Jacksonville, Florida. The world's largest cocktail. When you walk around, you got no beer in your hand. You'll find a beer in your hand somewhere, somehow, when you walk around the parking lot. So you really ain't got to buy no beer when you get in the stadium because people hand it out to you in the world's largest cocktail party. How do you see Florida fare in this ball game today?
As I said, man, Georgia has not started off the season as we have hoped. They're playing below expectations of their football program in a whole. In Florida, to me, we've had some little yips. We got 3 losses. I think we've had some yips along the way. But
Yep.
the bright side I see of this, we have a quarterback that can run, and we have a quarterback that can throw. They're the same person. If he can stretch the field at least 5 times, because his throws over 35 yards, I think he has 9 of them. So he can throw the ball long, and he can run the ball. He's pretty smart. He's not taking a hit. He can slide. He knows how to do that. My defense has been stepping it up the past few games. If I can get the version of that running quarterback and throwing, making right decisions with the ball, and that defense showing its thing, we could upset UGA. What I don't want to see is a taunting penalty, player ejection, spearing a player. I don't want to see any dumb penalties today with Florida. They're another high, amped up, energetic football team. They need to calm that down a little bit and come back down to planet Earth. It's okay to be excited, but pulling out the fake pium, hitting somebody in the head on purpose, leaving your feet to make a play in the game, standing over a player with your business in their face, barking at them, that's not part of the game. If we can play football this game, let UGA make all the mistakes. Let Kirby get mad on the sideline, his whole face turn red. Let somebody else throw their headset. I want us to go out there and play Florida football. Let's play football. I don't want the Tebow team. I don't want the Danny Warfel team. I don't want the Emmitt Smith team. I want this team moving forward. None of those teams can help us today. For as inspiration, that can help you. But to play on the field in the game, none of those players are coming to your help, aid on that field. If Florida can get that through their head and my numbskull head coach can survive this, I can see us winning this game. And it'll be an upset, but not upset for as like a beatdown that we're beating them by 15 points or more. I don't see it going that far. But I can see us winning this game.
Yeah, I look at it. I agree with you in 2 points here about the Florida Gators and stuff like that. They played Tennessee tough this year. They lost in overtime in that ball game. So he had Neal saying, but they giving 20.2% for Florida chance to beating Georgia's 79.8% for Georgia. But also the key of this. It's also going to be a game out for ETN, who came from Florida to Georgia, both vice versa there. So this could be a big running game for ETN. Tried to prove a point to the Gators that they probably should have kept him and stuff like that. Try to work out a deal to get him to keep him, but that didn't work out there. But Carson Beck has also thrown 8 interceptions this year. He's 165 out of 250, 1,993 yards and 15 touchdowns. But he has played better lately in the second half of games like you said, a slow start coming out of the box. That's when Florida's got to jump on Georgia starting that first and second quarter. But if it gets to halftime and in the third, fourth quarter, that's when Uga gets up and running their offense. Either they go into halftime to take some smelling sauce, or they get some energy drinks, and next thing you know, they popped out in the second half. They are outscoring teams in the third and fourth quarter of ball games.
Georgia?
I don't know. Yeah.
That's because Kirby loses his mind at halftime in that locker room. You haven't heard past players talk about what goes on if they're not playing up to par, up to satisfaction of Kirby. He loses his mind in that locker room, but he gets through to those players. I don't have nothing against that. If a coach has to do that to get some athleticism out of you, to wake you up, to get you to do your job, in the words of Belichick, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it at all. I have a problem with my coach not doing nothing to light a fire under my team's ass at no point of the game. You look on the sideline, he just got his arms crossed. His lips are not moving, so who is he talking to?
Yeah, I don't know. But the problem I have with that is, and I want to get your opinion on here. I've been holding this back for a while. Started this college football season after week 1. Steve Spurrier went on the Feinbaum show. They asked him about the head coach and Napier. Spurrier went on and said he doesn't have his vote of confidence in Napier. Is that, when Steve Spurrier speaks of that, normally the college will listen and they'll fire the coach. Is that the point that we're at right now? If Napier cannot win this ball game today, are we at the point where now at the end of the season he is gone? Or is he gone at the end of the season anyway?
Ray, I'm quite sure his family's already looking for another house to live. I'm quite sure that's already been a plan, a forethought. They're going to let the kids finish out their school year, but they up out of there. There is no enthusiasm from him. There's no coaching words that comes with inspiration. His interviews are all over the place. The one interview, he just kept squeezing the empty water bottle the whole interview. What is going on? Where's the professionalism at? Where's the accountability at? Who did this interview process with him? I was not on board with this. Steve Spurrier is one of those coaches. What he speaks is the truth. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. He has that old grandpa mentality right now. What he say, be careful. Be careful, because the truth coming out. Any way you look at it, it is coming out. Most coaches, you can take that because of their coaching resume. Others, you're like a little questionable. You're like, hey, that's a little disrespectful. You haven't done anything. Like if Dan Mullen would have said that, hey, whoa, bro, pause. What gives you the right to say that? But what Steve Spurrier has done on the field, on the sideline and for college football, I take that, what he said. That man knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, if you look at it, this too, Billy Napier in this rivalry game is 1-9 in a rivalry game. If he loses today, he'd be 1-10 in a rivalry game. Is this the time to look at it where it doesn't matter if he wins this ball game or not, just let him go?
Florida's
then
type
who
of
you gonna
football
bring
program,
in?
they probably already have that in mind right now. That's probably a top 3 candidate list. There's probably already an exit strategy with this whole process going on, whether we win or lose. It's a great way to put it. But I think this season for Napier, even if we win out and get a viable bowl game, I don't think he's gotten the confidence from the players or even the student body or the boosters. He does not have it. I haven't seen anybody with a sign yet, keep Napier. Or not Napier.
I haven't
seen that at all.
I'm gonna put you in the spot here. I want you to put on the athletic director's hat. You have a list of coaches. Your top three candidates right now on your list of coaches to replace Billy Napier at Florida. Who will be your top 3 candidate?
My top 3 candidates. Oh man, that's a good one. Because I'm thinking who's going to get fired, who should be a coach, who's leaving the NFL, coming to college football. I don't know, because I don't like Kiffin that much. He said some things, he's done some things that I just don't think that is a coach should be saying that. Knowing you're from a coaching family, you should know better. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one, man. But I'll give you my top three though.
All right.
I don't know who I
We'll
want
get back to that. Do you want me to get back to you next week, or you want me to get back to you at the end of the segment?
I'll probably figure it out before I end the segment. Probably.
Okay. All right. So we get to that. Yeah. Are you taking your Gators today?
Yes.
I'm going with the Bulldogs. I ain't got faith in. That's why I'm sitting on the Bulldogs side.
You sitting on their side?
I'm sitting on their side today. You know, last time I went to this game, let me give you a straight thing. Last time I went to this game, I wore an Atlanta Braves hat, Major League Baseball hat. I was walking around, going to my seat. I just because I didn't want to wear my North Carolina hat to a Florida Georgia game, so I just put something that's in Atlanta for it, my Braves. A guy comes walking by me with a Georgia hat on and says, "Take the Alabama hat off."
Oh boy,
are you at the wrong game? I looked at him and said, "Dude, you don't know your own baseball logo?" He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "This is an Atlanta Braves hat." And I took it off and showed him the Major League Baseball logo on the back of it.
Oh my God. There are people out there
his wife looked at him and says, "I told you it was a Braves hat."
Mm-hmm.
So that was a little inside thing about that.
I tell you what, I like the coach of Minnesota. Oh, PJ Flick. I like him.
Bring the boat. That boat symbol will be working in Florida because we do have lakes and swamps.
Coach Flick at Minnesota.
Yeah.
I like him.
He's the one that had he's the one that had that rowing at Central Michigan.
Yeah, I like him. I like where he goes at it. And I don't think he's married. I think he has a two-family situation. He had a girlfriend with kids, and he has an ex-wife who remarried and they kids, and they do the co-parenting family weird shit that's on cable. They do that.
I don't know. That sounded like something like West Virginia style there. All right. Who you got? Texas Tech or number 11 Ohio State? Iowa State, I'm sorry. Texas Tech and number 11 Iowa State.
Give me Texas Tech.
I'm going to take Iowa State in this one. All righty, my friend. The next contest we're going to go into is number 13 ranked. Yes, this is not a mistake. A number 13 ranked Indiana Hoosiers at Michigan State at 3:30 p.m. from Spartan Stadium in East Lansing, Michigan. And they did not give Indiana's coach a chance to coach Alabama. Didn't even look at him. Look what he has done at Indiana now. He has proven his point that he can coach football. He has taken a program that was 1-12 last year and then turned them into a number ranked 13th. And within a year, all the transfer portal, everything else. What is making Indiana football better than last year's team?
There was no pressure. When you finish the year 1-13, what pressure do you have? You can get real comfortable. You can break it down to its purest form on simplifying the game for everyone, from your coaches, your training staff, your incoming players, your transfer portal, you're going out so you can make everything so easy. There's no pressure. And I guarantee that's what that coach did. Hey, guys, look, this is what we're going to do. We're just going to go out here and play simple football, just like he did in the backyard. That's we're going to play simple football. Playing simple football has excited this program as well as the student body and the base around Indiana Hoosier football. I said football, not basketball or soccer, but football at Indiana. I like that. When other programs jump on board, hey, we can play too. And I think that's what Indiana needed. I think he made it really simple in explaining his coaching philosophy and his game plan. And if these guys want to buy into it, okay, here you go. If you don't want to buy into it, maybe we can go 3-10. But they're buying into it, and they're coming off the ground. It's shocking the college football world seeing Indiana ranked number 13.
Yeah, if you look at it, starting back in September 21st against Charlotte, they're 52 and 14, 52 points and 14 points given up. Maryland game, it was 42-28 Indiana. The Northwestern game was 41-24. Nebraska game was 56-7. The Washington game was 31-17. And if you look at their full schedule here, they ain't slowing down in a while. They're not going to slow down. They got their next few games here. They got Michigan State today. Then they play Michigan. And that big contest comes on November 23rd against number 4 Ohio State. That TBD time to be determined. And then their last game of the season is against Purdue. So possibly they can end up, if they can win out and Party lose, they can have a one-loss season this year, because the Ohio State game might be the toughest game they're going to be playing this year.
Right.
Out of all that. So do you see Indiana going 4-1 in this last little bit of last 4 games here in the season, or do you see them staying undefeated?
And undefeated kind of hard, because I think that Purdue game and Michigan game can be a little tougher. But you see, don't forget, they all know each other very well, very, very well. It'll be interesting to watch. I don't think they can do it, but it'd be interesting to watch.
Yeah, they give Indiana a 7.5 point favorite in this ball game against Michigan State. Michigan State does lead the series 50-18-2. Hoosiers are playing for a lot more than third straight road win in this series, or taking an old brass spitting tune for the third time in 5 years. They are one of the 8 remaining undefeated teams in the mix for one of the 12 playoff spots, and another win would give them a school record of 9-0 start. The Spartans are hoping to rebound from a 24-17 loss to Michigan and keep their postseason bowl hopes alive. So there's a lot of things right in this ball game for both teams. It should be a good game going on here. But Indiana aggressive defense versus Michigan State turnover-prone offense. That doesn't sound very good. Indiana quarterback Chris Rourke, who will start after missing 1 game following a surgery on his right thumb. So we need to see how that's going to act his accuracy in his passing game with that thumb surgery that happened last week, how much he's healed up. But also you got to look at linebacker Kyle Holliday from Michigan State, with the leading tackler Jordan Turner sitting out in the first half due to the targeting penalty against Michigan. So that's going to be an effect on the first game. If Michigan State can keep it close, can Michigan State pull this victory out today?
No. I think Indiana's just on a high right now, in the type of style that the coaching abilities of Indiana's coach will way outdo what Michigan State's going to bring to the table. And I don't really care for Michigan State, so I really want Indiana to beat the hell out of them.
Yeah. So you saying that, you taking Indiana in this ballgame?
Yes.
I'm also taking Indiana in this ballgame. I don't think Michigan has a slim chance, and I would say hell, but that's not nice to say. A slim chance in green pastures to turn snow in Florida. So that's why I look at it. All right, my friend. Before we go to a commercial break, we got a couple games we want to do rapid fire on. Then we'll go to break and come back. We'll talk about Arizona State at Oklahoma State. We'll talk about Coastal Carolina at Troy. We'll talk about Navy at Rice, and Hawaii at Fresno State will be our next 4 games we'll be talking about after the rapid fire here when we come back from break. So let's do the rapid fire real quick, and then we'll go to break and come back for those games. Number 17, Kansas State at Houston. Who you got?
Give me K-State.
I'm taking K-State in this also. UCLA and Nebraska. Who you got?
Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm going to take Nebraska also in this one. North Carolina at Florida State. Who do you got?
Who was the next game?
North Carolina at Florida State.
Me, North Carolina.
I'm taking the Tar Heels in that one also. So when we come back, we're at the point when we come back, we're going to talk about Arkansas State, Oklahoma State, Coastal Carolina at Troy, Navy at Rice, Hawaii at Fresno is the next 4 games we're talking about. We'll come back here on the All Sports, All Plays College Breakdown on the All Sports, All Plays Network. I'm Ray, that's Dre. We'll be right back.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. 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 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. 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 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. 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 365, we making up plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. Network. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Welcome back to the All Sports, All Plays Network. I am Ray Cruz. This is the All Sports, All Plays College Breakdown. Dre will be right back in a moment here. We're going to go ahead and continue on. We're talking about our college pick'em the games here today. We have gone up to number 22 game. We were working on number 23 when Dre gets back in here. So we'll be talking about Arizona State, Oklahoma State when we get ready to go. Dre is back, so we're going to bring him back on the air. What's up, my big guy, Dre? What's up, brother? We got everything going here. Let's put the banners back up and running. Let's see here. What we want to do? We want to do the top 25 there, and then we're going to talk about this team, Arizona State at Oklahoma State at 3:30 p.m. from Boone Pickens Stadium in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Does Arizona State have a chance to go on the road and win at Oklahoma State today?
I'm so confused by Oklahoma's football team. I mean, I don't know. Them in Texas start out every year hyped and hot. Then October gets here. And it's like, if they could just play football for 1 month, them two would be probably the top 4 teams in college football. One of the top 4 teams in college
Talking
football.
about Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Not Oklahoma.
No. Oklahoma State, and Texas. All 3 of them start out the year good, but then reality sets in. But this Oklahoma team, I don't know where they're at. I'm confused. They have the talent. They have the coaching. They have the money. What is the issue of getting on that field and playing good football? What's the problem?
Well, my take on this Oklahoma State team is Gordon, the second, who was dominant running back last year. He's only got 568 yards and 135 carries and 8 touchdowns. He's not been dominant this year. Bowman, who's now in the quarterback position, who has over 2,997 yards out of 166, 275, 14 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, is kind of high on that Oklahoma State Gundy there at Oklahoma State has the continuity, has the talent on this team, like you said. But Arizona State and Willingham come out of Oregon as offensive coordinator, got an offense going. He's building something there. He's got this program a little bit on the rise. They're 5-2 and 2-2 in conference play without that Herm Edwards story saga and all that. Now he's taking over the team. He's building the program back up a little bit where Herman had it before all this collapse he had on that team and stuff like that. But he's 5-2 and 2-2 in conference play in Arizona State. You look at Oklahoma State, they're 3-5, 0-5 in conference play. Right now, they have 5 straight losses in conference play for Oklahoma State, and Arizona State is coming in here now, banging bangs with them in the Big 12.
0-5 to get you
first
fired.
Year. So, is it time? To me, in my opinion, is it time for Gundy to go at Oklahoma State? It's time to part ways with him.
Yeah, it's past the mullet. The mullet days are over. The antics, they don't work anymore. They were funny when you were winning. They were funny when you dominated a game. They're not funny and nobody gets it when you're not winning. You just look like you're shaking your hair and fixing your mullet. Every bad call that you don't get, every turnover situation, every touchdown the opposing team gets, every scoring opportunity you miss on, all we get is him shaking his head and grabbing the back of his mullet. That's not what you're here for, sir. That's not it. He's one of those coaches that think he's bigger than the program. We just went through that in the NFL with head coaches thinking they're bigger than the players or they're who the fans go to see. In college football, it's about you building up the program, building up these athletes and putting a winning product on the field. That's what it's about to me. But with Mr. Gundy, it's not like that. It's like, look at me, look at me, look at me. No, we're not here to see no damn coach.
Yeah, we got to look at it too here. For the big win from Arizona State last week against Utah Utes, their starting quarterback, Levitt, has a cracked rib in that victory there. So we got to look. He didn't play in the 24-14 loss to Cincinnati, which was on October 19th, but they are expecting him to start against Oklahoma State. He's a better team with him at quarterback than without him at quarterback. Right now, Oklahoma State must win the last 3 of its 4 games to extend a nation's 6th longest active bowl streak in 19 seasons. The Cowboys have dropped 5 straight for the first time since 2014. So Arizona State running back Cam Skidbo versus Oklahoma State's front 7. Skidbo, who is leading that Big 12 in all-purpose yards with 161.6 per game, has rushed for 862 yards and 10 touchdowns and caught 23 passes with 283 yards. Oklahoma State, meantime, surrendered 343 yards on the ground versus Baylor, including 156 in the fourth quarter. Cowboy coach Mike Gundy said the Bears gained 258 yards on 21 missed tackles.
The key to crack ribs is don't laugh, wear that flap jacket, and don't tickle him. You'll be okay. But you laugh, you're not finishing the game.
An interesting key point for Arizona State is wide receiver Jordan Tyson, the Colorado transfer, a redshirt sophomore, has caught 31 passes for 477 yards, 15.39 yards average, and 4 touchdowns. He's the guy who needs to touch it more. Arizona State coach Kenny Dillingham said he's the guy we got to put on the field more. So we got to watch that a little bit of matchup there. If he starts exploiting Jordan Tyson, we know how fast he is with Colorado days. They get him going. Arizona State's offense is going to be dynamic a little bit here on the Willingham. He's trying to bring that Oregon-style offense to Arizona State. It's working right now. But you got to look at it, too. How did they get Ollie Gordon, the Ollie Gordon going, the last season Doug Walker winner as a nation's top running back, started slowly topping only 50 yards rushing just once in 5 games against FBS opponents. But he ran for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns against BYU, then rushed 77 yards, 2 scores against Baylor in the last 2 games. How did they get the top Doak Campbell Walker award winner last year going in this ball game?
Got to see what's going on with that offensive line. Got to be something going on with the offensive line, something that they're not doing that they've done before, out of game film I'm going to watch and figure out what the issue is. Again, if you miss a blocking assignment on offense, it's a big, huge difference. It's losing 5 yards versus gaining 7 yards. It's getting a scoop and score versus you hitting that opponent that you're supposed to hit. You miss that assignment, especially in the trenches up front, it could prove to be a bad thing for the running game when you're trying to establish a running game. That and the play action will not work if that offensive line misses any blocking assignments at all.
Yeah, if you look at it too here, it's Saturday game is homecoming for Oklahoma State. Cowboys offensive lineman Isaiah Glass, who transferred from Arizona State, is expected to start at left tackle against his former team. Skippo is 695 yards after contact, rushing, and receiving. Is 7th in the FBS according to sportsradar.com. Oklahoma State ranks 132nd out of 133 FBS teams in total defense, 499.9 yards per game, and rush defense is 251 yards per game. So something's going to have to give in this ball game. How do you see this ball game going today?
I'm taking Arizona State. Taking them.
I'm taking Arizona State to go make Oklahoma State go 0-6 in the last 6 games in conference play, stay winless in the Big 12. All righty, my friend. All right, let's do a faster rapid refire. Arizona at UCF. Who you got?
UCF.
Taking UCF in this one also. Actually, I'm gonna go the opposite of you in this one. I'm gonna take Arizona. I don't know why. Something to tell me Arizona might win. Middle Tennessee at UTEP. Who you got?
Give me UTEP.
Yeah, I'm taking UTEP in this one also, playing at home. University of Louisiana Monroe at Marshall. Who you got?
Marshall. The Thundering Herd.
Marshall. Yep. We are Marshall. Wyoming at New Mexico. Who you got?
New Mexico.
You taking New Mexico? I'm going to take Wyoming in this one. All right, my friend, let's talk about this next game we got coming up here. We got Coastal Carolina at Troy at 4 o'clock on ESPN Plus from Veterans Memorial Stadium in Troy, Alabama. How do you see this game playing out for Coastal Carolina, who has been struggling here lately in these ball games? They're 4-3, 1-2 in the Sun Belt. Troy comes in at 1-7, 0-4 in the Sun Belt. So what's going to give today in this ball game?
Well, I had to get off the hype train a little early because I was really rooting for Coastal Carolina to have one of those Central Florida seasons, one of those from down there. You know, there's good people down there in Conway, South Carolina. I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe they were looking, maybe injuries were the plague. Maybe there's some NIL let down because we've been hearing stories behind the scene in college football this year about how NIL is affecting the way these kids want to get on the field and play because of the promissory of them getting paid. But at the same time, injuries are a key part as well. So I don't know if they're really going through the injury bug or the transfer portal players really didn't pan out the way they wanted to, or maybe just not buying into the program moving forward. There's all kind of situations I think could be going on to affect the poor play of Coastal Carolina. But when you're not a big name school and you're going through those trials and tribulations, I think they're more fixable than the big college programs. So I'm looking for them to rebound very quickly from whatever miscues they were having in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, you got to look at this too. Coastal Carolina's got to worry about Ross, the wide receiver for Troy, who has 49 receptions, 751 yards, and 8 touchdowns, leading the men of Troy. Also, Caldwell, who is 66 out of 107 yards, 734 yards, and 4 touchdowns, but he's got more interceptions than 6 interceptions. But they have a running back who has 88 carries, 492 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But if you look at the other end of Coastal Carolina, Ed Vasco, the quarterback, is 72 out of 138, 1,195 yards, and 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Bennett, who leads the team in rushing, 50 carries, 322 yards, 6 touchdowns. And that leading wide receiver for Coastal Carolina is Tucker, who has 16 receptions, 308 yards, and 3 touchdowns. What's going on down the thing is the transfer out of Castle McCall, who went to NC State, who's now retired because he had so many concussions at NC State. He's gone officially retired from college football. So that was a little bit of a thing when he left when he left Coastal Carolina, I think that kind of turned away. Also, the Chadwick who went to Liberty left to the head coach, and they brought him back the offensive coordinator at NC State to Coastal Carolina. He's still trying to build his players and his depth and his thing. I think that's a little bit of a tell too on that coaching end there. But if you look at the matchup predicted, they got Coastal Carolina's 59.4% chance to 40.6 for Troy, for a team that's 0-4 in the Sun Belt and 1-7 in college football right now. And that's not a very good thing. So who you got taking in this ball game?
I got Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, I'm taking Coastal Carolina in this one too. All righty. Moving right along here today. We're moving right along. We get some good insights here. We're gonna go to the other military academy, university, the Naval Academy at Rice at 4 p.m. on ESPN2 from Rice Stadium in Houston, Texas. How does the midshipmen get back on the winning track after that debacle at Notre Dame last week?
It looked like Navy set the Navy football program back 4 years. That was a bludgeon. That was a beatdown. That was everything that you could go wrong. It was like a video game. You playing against your older brother and you're a kid, and you can barely use hand and eye coordination, and your brother's just taking advantage of you. That's what it looked like. It looked like the bully was coming to the house to beat me down, and mom and dad were okay with it. The way those turnovers happened, how fast they were. And the announcer made a key point. A turnover is you throwing the interception, or you just them causing the fumble. They didn't really intercept any ball. We threw the ball to them. No, to our own players. Our own players bobbled the ball. The fumbles we had, we're actually running with the ball with no football contact, and they just dropped the ball. What is going on? How you just drop a ball? We know those gloves have stickum on them. Well, how do you just drop the ball? I think it happened 3 times last week in that game. Nobody is touching these guys, and they just dropped the ball. I would hate to call an investigation on all the parties that were involved with Navy and see if any of their family members went to FanDuel or DraftKings. Because there's no way. It was 5 turnovers, in the first half?
Yeah.
In the first half. No.
Yep.
No. I'm not buying it. But the way we played against Notre Dame was just, it looked like we forgot to play football. It really did. Looked like the first year, and we're going up against varsity who's won state 12 years in a row. That's what it looked like. Hopefully that team can rebound. Hopefully they can know how to protect the quarterback, read a defense, play defense. Special teams wake up. Coaching staff, throw an anchor at somebody. There was nothing.
Yeah, if you look at this too, Harbaugh, who leads the midshipmen in passing, 53 out of 85, 976 yards, and 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And then you get a look at him. He's the leading rusher too for the Naval Academy, 93 carries, 750 yards, and 11 touchdowns. But Idjarek is the leading wide receiver at 25 receptions, 495 yards, and 5 touchdowns. They look like they're leaning, turning away from the triple option a little bit more to a passing attack game, but it didn't look that way against Notre Dame. But Rice is a different team than Notre Dame. They're 2-6 and 1-3 in conference play. Rice has been that Heckle and Jekyll team. They've been playing teams tough, but then they lose at the end. Does Rice have a chance? They're playing at home. Does Rice have a chance against the Naval Academy rushing attack?
If Rice watched any bit of game film last week, Navy's in trouble. It's not just the fact that we put 8 in the box. It was the linebackers, how fast they were getting to those gaps. And the Navy guys couldn't slide fast enough to get over there to stop it. So if they can do that, Navy's in trouble. Again, the option, the triple option, the RPO, the speed of Notre Dame, and I'm not saying Rice is faster than Notre Dame, but the speed that Notre Dame showed at defending the RPO, the option, the triple option. If teams can do that, you're going to go away from that and go to more of a pro-style approach or shotgun approach, but get back into showing us you could do an actual passing game. But they took away everything Navy was doing leading up into the Notre Dame game. It's like they didn't have an answer for nothing. You don't know what to do. And if they get into that situation, where I hope it does not work that way against Rice, I got a funny feeling that the Navy is going to rebound from this game, not go out and put up 40 or 50 points, but go out and have a respectable Naval Academy victory against Rice today.
Yeah, I look at it this too. They give Rice 32.5% chance, Navy 65.5% chance. But if you look at it, when Navy played a top 5 tier team when like in Notre Dame, the top 10 team in like in Notre Dame, they lost 51-14. But they haven't been close to other teams except for Memphis at 56-44. But they beat UAB 41-18. They beat Air Force 34-7. They beat Charlotte 51-17. This is another Rice team that's in the lower tier thing. So you figure Navy's going to probably dominate Rice. Rice probably don't have a shot in this ball game. But then again, if Rice follows the formula of Notre Dame, they could force a lot of things on Navy. But if Navy gets that running game going downhill and then sprinkling in a few passes in this game, I don't think Rice has a chance in this ball game. I got Navy in this ball game.
I got Navy as well. Then another thing to look at for is Navy playing a top tier team, being the fact we're Service Academy, being the fact that we were in a triple option for 45 years. That loss could also be a boost in confidence for the team. Hey, we knew we weren't good at going into this game, but I guarantee you, as bad as that game was for Navy, they probably took away 3 pros from that game that they can really look at and say, okay, we did these 3 things well. But the rest, where they were feeling they were mediocre at, they can pretty much judge that. The things they knew they had to work on, the things they had no idea about it, they were really bad at. They found all that out. So I'm thinking they had a good practice week, good film week, and they can go out and rebuild and rebound from that embarrassing loss against Notre Dame last week. But give me Naval Academy.
Yeah, I got Naval Academy in there. Let's do a fast one-game rapid refire here. Massachusetts at Mississippi State. Who you got?
Mississippi State.
Got Mississippi State down in Starkville. All right, my friend. We go to Hawaii. We both stationed in Pearl Harbor. This game is Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors versus Fresno State Bulldogs at 7 p.m. There's no TV listed right now. It's on Valley. It's from Valley Children's Stadium in Fresno, California. He's got his lay on there, Mr. Hawaii himself, Mr. Lukuna Hale. I can't give you a Hawaiian name because I don't know what a Hawaiian name would be for Montez or Dre. I always call my wife. I said, your Hawaiian name. Her name is Tiffany, or I call my wife Tiffalani. That's a Hawaiian name for Tiffany there. But I can't do a Hawaiian name with your name, unless you go Dre Alani. Dre Alani. There you go. Oh, you Dre Alani there. We have Dre Alani from Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, in his Florida Gator outfit with his rainbow. How do you see where the Rainbow Warriors been a heckle jive team this year? They've been up, they've been down, they've been playing good football, they've been playing bad football. They're 3-5, 1-2 in the Mountain West against a 5-3 and 3-1 Mountain West Fresno State. How does the Rainbow Warrior get a victory in California today?
Confidence. That's where it starts at. Confidence and the mindset. All that plays in the factor. When you playing at a time zone that many people are not awake and they forget about, it's pretty hard to stay up and riled up for that game because, your fan base is really small unless you're doing something very, very different on the field, as that team did back in 2007, I do believe, when they got embarrassed in the Sugar Bowl against UGA. But neither here nor there. Those days and times are far gone. Far gone. What my Rainbows need to do is play into your strength. Play into what you know you're good at. If you know you're good at running routes, stay with that. Stop trying to outrun people and just stay with what you're good at. The running game, if you know you like being that bull type of runner, be that bull. If you don't have that finesse in you, don't do it, because when you do that, we get torn ACL, MCL. We get all of that happening when you try to do things not in your character when it comes to you running the ball. Go back to the fundamentals of what got you at UH. Go back to when the game was real simple to you. Go find that confidence, UH, and they can come out here and probably have a decent game.
Yeah, if you look at it too, Sims is the leading rusher with 259 yards and 1 touchdown, 51 carries for the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. But Strigler, who's the quarterback, is 179 out of 296 yards, For 1,941 yards and 13 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. But Keen on the other side is 178, 2 out of 264 for 2,041 yards, 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He has thrown more picks than Strayer. But you got to think about, too, how does the Rainbow Warriors defense and their corners try to take away Delaney, who is the wide receiver for Fresno, who has 35 receptions, 692 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He's their leading receiver in this ball game on the team. So they got to take him away and make them forced to run. They don't run the ball effectively. And Gillum, who's only carried the ball 103 times for 417 yards and 6 touchdowns.
You know, Hawaii is one of those football programs where you can get a statistic and it can be misguiding. Let's say you got a bad defense, but they're good in the red zone. They're not giving up touchdowns. They're giving up field goals. So that's a good sign. I think sometimes in these game matchups, Hawaii find themselves in that pregame read and having information like that. They can do all these things so bad, but when it comes to scoring against them, they can stop you in an array of ways. And then they also have that special teams which can be up and down, as you spoke of when we first started this breakdown on these matchups right here. If they can just go back to the game film, look at what you did right in that game. It doesn't have to be a blowout game. It doesn't have to be a winning game, but go find that game, coach, where your team dotted their I's and crossed their T's and made you proud as a coach. Go find that game and use that as a teaching mechanism, as a teach back, as the fire 'em up speech before the game today. You got to go somewhere in a positive light to fire up the team. You can't talk about the negative consequences prior to the game. That doesn't work well anymore. Go to the fire 'em up method. Go to everything we've done positive up to this point. Last week doesn't matter. You broke up with Kelly last week. Kelly doesn't matter. We're looking forward now. We're looking at Pam now. So that we're looking at that situation.
Yeah, if you look at it too, they came off a 3-game losing streak. They beat Nevada last week, 34-13 in Hawaii. But if you look at Fresno, they have won 2 straight. They beat Nevada 24-21, and they beat San Jose State University 33-10 in the last game. So you look at that too. How does Fresno State try to improve their offense on Hawaii's defense?
Good passing game, consistent running. Because then that way you stand on the field. When you wearing down a defense by staying on the field, that causes frustration with the offense because they've been sitting. The defense, they can't stop anybody, even with the substitutions coming in and out. It really makes you frustrated. So they can do that, keep that defense on the field. That's the way to do it. Keep them on the field, sustaining a drive.
Yeah. So does Hawaii have a – I'm leaning a little bit to Hawaii on this one. I think Fresno State might be overconfident. I think Hawaii has got that confidence back against Nevada. I think it's kind of just swaying between both ways there. But I think I'm going to take in the Rainbow Warriors. Who are you taking in this one?
Give me 808 in the building, baby. Shaka, bro. Shaka. 808 in the building. Oh, my Hawaiian maniac.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. The next 4 games we'll be picking will be number 10, Texas A&M, and South Carolina. We'll be breaking them down. Louisville at number 11, Clemson at USC at Washington, and Kentucky at Tennessee. We'll wrap up this week's college pick'em. When we come back, we'll have some fast, rapid pick'em after we come back out of this break here. You're listening to the All Sports, All Place College Breakdown on All Sports, All Place Network. I am Ray, that is Dre. We'll be right back after these messages.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we're making up plays. We're talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety, topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. 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 365, 5, we making the plays. We talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, they working your faces. Grace at the field, so type the laces. All sports, all plays. What? All sports, all plays. What? We on top of our game. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays.
Welcome back to the college breakdown show on the All Sports All Plays Network. I am Ray, and I'm bringing Dre back in here, and we're going to start breaking down our next game on the list. Number 10, Texas A&M at South Carolina at 7:30 on ABC ESPN Plus from William Bright Stadium in Columbia, South Carolina, where no parking is there very well. Downtown of Columbia. The biggest thing in Columbia is the University of South Carolina without the parking. But anyway, no good tailgating place down in Columbia there. But number 10, Texas A&M coming into playing South Carolina. South Carolina's been like a hackle and jive team also. Which team will show up today against number 10, Texas A&M? What? I'm telling the truth. I'm a truth teller.
I love South Carolina football program. Besides Florida, I'm crazy about South Carolina because I went to a game when I used to live in Charlotte, and I just really resonated with that Gamecock Nation. But they got a defensive player that I am crazy about. He's an 18-year-old, 17. He just turned 18. He's a freshman, but he has a little high energy attitude that kind of brings out the pew-pew a few times in the game this year. If they can calm that down with South Cackalack, I can see them beating the Aggies today. Texas A&M. I can see them beating them.
Yeah, I agree with you on that too. That you got a good defensive player, and but they also got a good wide receiver in Michael Bennett Jr., who's the leading receiver with 19 receptions, 270 yards, and 3 touchdowns. They spread the ball around very well, but they also got a running back who's leading rushers, 96 carries, 426 yards, and Sanders. But Sellers, who's the quarterback, the engine makes it go. He has 4 interceptions, 5 touchdowns, but he's 88 out of 140 for 968 yards. But this Beamer offense. But if you look on the other hand, Wageman has started to come as for Texas A&M. He struggled a few games there, but now he's coming back around. He's 62 out of 109, 782 yards, and 3 touchdown and 4 interceptions, but Moss has also been carrying the ball 119 times, 757 yards, and 10 touchdowns. But you got to look out for Thomas, who has 22 receptions, 343 yards, and 3 touchdowns, leads Texas A&M. The former Duke coach has come in, has put a stamp on it. It took a while to get it going, but he does got to get going. He got him a number 10 ranked team in the nation in Texas A&M. He's 7-5-1. 7 wins and 1 loss is 5-0 in conference play. They're still undefeated. How does Texas A&M go into William Bright Stadium and try to pull this victory out against South Carolina?
What I found fascinating in college football, why is it that on defense, you get one player on defense that can be that transitional guy, that plays like somebody that was a great 5 or 10 years ago. It can spark the whole defense to play better. On the offensive side of the ball, you need other people. It just can't be one person. You need a quarterback, you need a running back, a tight end, a receiver. You need all those different things right there to make it work offensively. Then you put it all together, a football team, you figure out you need 5 or 6 ball players to get that nucleus going the right way. What bothers me is teams don't pick up on that. You can't build on that. You can't have that talk. You can't understand what you have right there. And I feel that's what South Carolina is at right now. They have so many talented people, but for some reason, they can't coach it, Ray. They can't coach it. I know people right now sitting at home that could coach that team to a better record, to a much better record. Then you get with Texas A&M. Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State, I think they all drinking different water because the expectations are way up here for Texas A&M when everybody found out how much money they had in that endowment. What are they doing with it? Buy more cows? What are they doing? They're not doing nothing for that football program. They haven't done nothing for that football program. Yeah, it's upon the kids and the talent to come in there. You got to coach them up. I get that. But are you putting people in the wrong spot, or are you putting people in position to fail? Because when I see Texas A&M, that's not the expectation I had with that record this year. And South Carolina could do better. They have a talented football team, just badly coached.
Yeah. Anyway, Texas A&M tailback Laverne Moss versus South Carolina run defense is ranked nationally, 9th nationally in rushing. But if you look at Gamecocks linemen and Kyle Kennard, Tonga, Hemingway, Dylan Stewart ranked 3rd in the SEC against the rush, allowing just under 102 yards per game this season. So now you talk about the rushing game, and we got to talk about Texas A&M. Lead the victory for them is the rushing game. The rushing game leads their passing game because they like to do a little bit more play action pass. That's what he did at Duke University, more play action pass there. But Texas A&M defensive lineman Nick Sorter, who leads the SEC with 12.5 tackles for loss this season. In league play, he has 10 tackles for loss, 4 sacks. South Carolina has given up 32 sacks and is the second most in the SEC. So how did they shore up that sack total and not give Texas A&M all these sacks they are been rushing here in the last few weeks?
Well, South Carolina can get to the quarterback, and they can get up on the receiver pretty fast too. They can get up on that line really, really quick. Even the games I've seen them play back on defense, they're pretty quick. They read and react. It's awesome, especially with their linebackers. And on the ends, I don't know how A&M is going to hold up on those ends of the line right there as far as the matchup is concerned. What A&M needs to go to, back to the quick throws, the little outs, motion, get the guy open, extra blocks, utilizing the tight end, trips work, RPOs. All of that is part of the game. You cannot do the exact same thing you did at prior schools and go move to another school and try the same thing. Because coaches around the league, they know that. Well, he's accustomed to doing this, accustomed to doing that. Well, let's prepare for that. That makes the game plan and the preparation too easy. I'm not saying you got to trick it up each and every time. You don't have to use the same playbook at each school you've been to. There has to be a formula where the offensive coordinator is bringing you something you haven't thought about. Your quarterback coach is bringing you something you haven't thought about. Your receiver coach and your running back coach. All of your position coaches got to be bringing you something to the table to change up the menu of coaching for you if you're trying to win. When they come to programs that can't figure it out, when the expectations are high, that's what I'm worried about. Who's calling these plays? Why are you doing the same thing week after week and it's not working? At some point, you got to change it up because in IRL, they say that's what levels of insanity when you're doing the same thing over and over and you're getting the same results.
Yeah, and that too. But you got to watch out for South Carolina's defensive back, Nick Emenwari. He's coming off a dominant showing in a 35-9 win at Oklahoma with 11 tackles, 2 interceptions, one of which he brought back for a pick 6 for a touchdown. But Texas A&M has to stay away from him because he's the one that electrifies South Carolina. Once he gets a pick in the game, if he takes it back for a pick 6, South Carolina starts getting that momentum on the offensive side. I just Texas A&M avoid not letting Nick Emerson dictate who they're going to pass the ball to, try to take it one side of that field away.
When it comes to you know for a fact the tendency's on the right side due to the matchup. I got an incoming freshman. I got an unexperienced player back there. We know that type of matchup is going to come. But I'm not going to the adjustment right away. I still want to give my player a chance. You're on this field for a reason. I'm still going to give you a chance. Now, if they're really taking advantage of it, where we're going, he's 6 out of 8 targets over there. Now it's time for the adjust back there. Let's not them get too comfortable with attacking that particular side of the field.
And if we're looking at it too, Gamecocks last week against Oklahoma had a program record 9 sacks, beating Oklahoma last week. How does Texas A&M stop that sack barrage this week and keeping them at a reasonable sack ratio and they getting up 9 sacks like they did last week?
Big boys in the South can move. They can run fast, and the distance is very short to attack with the speed that they have. I think the speed up front and that front five or front eight, whatever they put up there, I think that's too much for A&M because they can get through that hole, and them boys love to hit the quarterback. They love to hit in the South. They love it.
Yeah, if you look at it too, Gamecocks have gotten 16 turnovers on their opponents this season, third in the SEC, 12th nationally. So that's another thing Texas A&M has got to worry about too in the quarterback situation because the quarterback's been heckling John. That one loss, he had giving up a lot of interceptions in that one loss there. They're 7-1, 5-0 in conference play. Texas A&M is. Can Texas A&M stay undefeated today after going into South Carolina?
No, I got South Carolina winning this game. And what's A&M record?
They're 7-1, 5-0 in conference play.
Yeah, I got South Carolina winning this.
I got Texas A&M going into Bright Stadium winning because I don't know. I just think Texas A&M is a better team than South Carolina right now because you don't know which team is going to show up for South Carolina. They're like
that
a heckling jive team.
There. That's one thing they got is defense.
Oh, I agree with you. The defense is going to be there, but I think Texas A&M's got a little bit better offensive players than
look like
South Carolina does.
What the hell?
Huh?
Man at the game looked like my daddy. Like what my father doing at that game.
Hey, everybody's got a doppelganger somewhere.
Hey, it better be. It better be. I'm gonna call him after the show. Where you at?
All right, next game we're gonna break down Louisville at number 11, Clemson at 7:30 on ESPN from Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina. Clemson's been on a high since losing to Georgia the first game of the season. Can Clemson continue their winning ways today? How does Louisville go into Memorial Stadium, the true Death Valley, according to Clemson people? You talk to LSU, they got the real Death Valley. But anyway, we are talking about the Rock, the pageantry coming down the hill, touching that rock, riding the buses around because they do show it on the big screen. The buses going around to the back side to come down the hill, and Dabo Swinney leads the charge. Does Dabo lead the charge here today? How does Louisville combat all that pageantry and come out with a win today?
Dabo Swinney and Kirby Smart, they're my favorite two coaches to watch get pissed off during the game. Because you know when they're mad. And if they're down at halftime and it's just due to overall good football play, they're not upset at all. But if they're going in at halftime and they haven't capitalized on opportunities, they have missed opportunities, miscues with the ball, bad penalties, he's going to lose his damn mind. Then he loses composure on the sideline. I think losing that Georgia game, that's what Dabo needed. He needed that because he was getting that Lincoln Riley type feeling where he thought he was bigger than the game and knew everything better than everybody. And it doesn't happen that way. And the way they lost that game and when they lost that game, I think he needed that. The football program needed that. Now they got back down to level. He broke it down to his whole explanation about the transfer portal. Okay, we needed that Dabo. And then as football players, he had that re-energized speech after that other game. You can't let this one loss at the beginning of the season affect the entire schedule. That's the most important thing I think that he said to that football team to get them where they're at right now, because Clemson still only has one loss, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think those were powerful words that he said right there that could really help that football program today.
Yeah, they won 6 in a row. They're 5-0 in conference play. They're ranked number 11th in the nation. They matchup predictors got Clemson 66.9% chance of winning over 33.1% for the thing. But if you look at Stroud for Louisville's passing, he's 175 out of 272 for 2,348 yards and 20 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Klubnik for Clemson is 146 out of 219, 1,836 yards and 20 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. But if you look at the running game in Brown and Mustafa is pretty even. Brown is 80 carries for 649 yards and 6 touchdowns. Mafia for Clemson, 196 carries for 682 yards and 6 touchdowns. Clemson likes to run the ball a little bit more than what Louisville does. Louisville likes to pass the ball more, and they got to watch out for the wide receiver. Leading wide receiver for Louisville is 44 receptions, 799 yards, 8 touchdowns to Williams, who leads Clemson receptions, 28 receptions, 393 yards, and 5 touchdowns. How does Clemson defense take Brooks and Stroud out of the game today?
Isn't that Muhsin Muhammad's son, former Carolina Panther? That plays for Clemson?
I don't know.
And then also, Clemson playing all-around good football. I think Georgia showed them a lot at what they thought they knew and what they needed to know. And they've been playing all-around football, offensively, defensively, and special teams, and even been a little smart with the penalties. They haven't been really that bad with the penalties in situations where the game is in – it can either go their way or the opponent's way. So I like the transition that Clemson has done. On the other side, with Louisville, in order to get to Clemson, you have to make Clemson make mistakes, meaning getting in the faces of people, causing a disarray, hitting the quarterback, hitting the receivers, laying some wood on the tight ends. That's how you ravel up Clemson. Don't let them get comfortable, because they get comfortable, you're going to end up being down 52 points. But you got to rattle Clemson up. Make Dabo go in that coaching bag. Make Dabo pull that hat off. When he pulled that hat off, you got him. But I don't see it. I don't see Louisville having the talent to beat Clemson coming in.
You don't think this Louisville and Clemson game has that feel like with Lamar Jackson at Louisville was when they went into Memorial Stadium? Though you don't close.
If it were a college game, they'll be there.
I don't know. College game day went to Ohio State and Penn State, so you know.
Well, that's for tradition. Just going for a matchup like they did with James Madison. Was that last year? With James Madison? That was awesome. When your football team is doing something in the year, like the rest of these already predetermined locations where we're going. I like when they go to locations. Hey, we had no idea. We got a schedule adjustment. That's when you know you're getting the program where it needs to be. Then you're getting close.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it this way here, Clemson is favored by 10. Wait a minute, they got Clemson favored by 10 by 2.5. Don't know what that means. They did Clemson by 10 by 2.5. I don't know what kind of bad odds that is. But
one of them the money line?
Yeah, Clemson leads the series 8-0. Would it state Clemson has been a tier since losing to the opener in Georgia, what we said. The Tigers must keep winning as one of the 4 ACC teams still undefeated in the league played to stay on track for the return to the championship game. Louisville has a hope to be in the mix too, but has lost 2 ranked opponents in Miami and SMU to fall off pace. So that's what you looked at in that situation. Who you got winning this ball game today?
I'm taking Clemson.
I got Clemson also winning this ball game too. All right, let's do a little bit of rapid fire here. You got Wisconsin at Iowa. Who you got?
Iowa. Hey, did you see that what they're doing in the Iowa game? They're wearing the uniforms that were designed by the kids in the hospital.
Wow.
So the names on the back of their jerseys are going to be the kids that are in the children's hospital wing.
I didn't hear about that. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool there. Let's go here and delete that one out of the game. All right, let's pick it up right here. USC at Washington at 7:30 p.m. on the Big Ten Network from Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington. USC is supposed to have been up here with Lincoln Riley. They gave him the house. They gave him all kinds of things, throwing money at him. He threw Caleb Williams. Still did not win anything with him. Can Lincoln Riley overcome? And right now, this team is just a mess. This team is a mess with Lincoln Riley. Is it a USC jinx? Is this a US jinx? I mean, they're 4-4, 2-4 in the Big Ten, going up against a 4-4 and 2-3 Big Ten team in Washington. Is USC a joke? basically.
Big time. Big time. They're more off of hype than anything. USC has not been relevant in sports other than the women with Juju, the women's basketball team. Other than Juju, the men's basketball team, garbage. The football team, trash. They gave Lincoln Riley too much power with a little bit of credibility. Just because he was the it factor, he was the dreamy guy on campus, don't mean you should get into bed with him. You haven't learned nothing from Dateline of 2020. They gave him too much power. He must do what Kingsbury did. He got to walk away from the game. Go travel to another country. Go find yourself, and you will hear a message saying you are not as smart as you thought you were about this game. Then go back and try it again. That's what Lincoln Riley is. You can't.
I look at it this way. I look at it this way. I think Lincoln Riley had all the hype. I think he's a great offensive mind, but not a good head coach, in my opinion. Is reflecting the last 2 years at USC. Is reflecting at Oklahoma. He has not won a championship game in any place that he was at. They throw all these money and thing because his outlook of his he's not a good CEO. College football head coach has got to be a good CEO. You got to know everything, but he only knows the offensive side. I think he's a better coordinator than he is a head coach. Will he ever get the USC program to where it needs to be, or is this just going to continue to go downhill?
I know football is back on the West Coast for his high school, for his recruiting, but they bringing all that West Coast talent to the South and to the East Coast. I don't think the West Coast, for them kids that stay at home, has enough upside to keep John and Sean at home. I just don't see what is Lincoln Riley selling. But what by me going to your football program, what are my expectations? Should I expect out of this program? Whether I'm here 2 years or 6 years, what should I get out of here besides education and turn into a man? What can I get football-wise planned for you, Lincoln Riley, and go? And the first time he say, me and my parents and I, we're leaving. We're leaving because that means you're not prepared. I don't know how he got all this money out of people. I don't get it. What has he done? What? I need to see the resume. I need to know a family background, any blackmailing situations, a suspicious accident, something to dignify and justify how this man still keeps getting a bypass. Keeps getting a pass.
I don't know. I mean, that's something here. And if you look at Washington, who went to the national championship last year, they have fallen off way off pace. Changed coach. Frisk came over from Arizona. What does he need to do to win this ball game today? What does Washington Husky need to do to win this ball game against USC today?
Well, heck, he did the smartest thing ever when he got that job. He told the press, he told the remaining players and coaches, this is not going to be like last year. He had all new kids come in he didn't know at all in the transfer portal except the ones he brought in. And you got to get them all to play together collectively in 1 year? You're a new coach coming in with a national championship team. It doesn't work that way. Football gets more intelligent the following year. Whatever you get away with this year, Indiana, try it next year. I bet it won't work because they're catching on. The game is fast and it's evolving as well at the same time. The learning curve is there. It is there. I knew it was going to be a tough year for Washington, but that's a good coach. He's taking these losses as a way to learn. He's taking these wins to write them down. Then that incoming class and those transfer portal kids, he's building a program to get his own kids in there, to get his coaching philosophy done. It's going to hurt to the alumni and the student body, but they know the type of coach they have. They know they're going to be back in the playoff conversation next year.
I mean, if you look at Jed Fish, he came out of Arizona. Well, he came out of the Jacksonville Jaguars first and then went to Arizona. Arizona turned Arizona around in a couple years to where they are on a little bit of a high now. And now he moved over to another team in Washington who's now he's established his identity in there. He's bringing his players in. He's got a couple more years. I think within the 3-year time frame, he'll have this Washington team back to where they need to be. I think he'll
Yeah.
have more time, and I think his situation in Seattle is a little bit of improvement, better than what Lincoln Riley has at USC right now. Because USC was just Caleb Williams hype when Lincoln Riley took over that program. Now look what he has done without Caleb Williams, and look how that program is decreasing his win values.
They didn't play that good with Caleb Williams. That defense sucked. He was just throwing the ball up like David Klinger did at Houston back in the day. There was no offensive thought there. Just run a straight line, guys. I'm going to throw the ball. That's all they were doing when Caleb Williams was there. That was it. That. He showed me that he didn't really have an offensive coordinator in high school or when he got to college. They were giving him plays on the go, like drawing him in the grass, playing backyard football with your buddies and family. I want to see him truly put an offensive scheme together with the quarterback, and it shows in the game. But it doesn't.
Yeah.
None of it. But he still gets a pass. Well, it's a young football program. When you come out, when you're being recruited the way Lincoln Riley was, and they shove you that much money, and you have your pros and cons list, you have your needs analysis list, I'm giving a coach like Lincoln Riley 4 years. If we're not where we need to be at in 4 years, bye. If you're a legendary coach coming in, I'm giving you 2 years. If it's your first time having this football program, I'm giving you 6 years. Nobody's getting a contract after that. I do 2 years, every 2 years after that. If you're building a winning formula and I can see it, you're going to stay with this. I'm going to keep you in the kitchen cooking. But these long tenure program contracts, I don't get it, and there's been no room for improvement. You trying to tell me you won't go to the Ithaca iHeart Radio bowl game played December 1? Hell no. Nobody wants to play a bowl game the week after the season then. What are we here for? That's why everybody sits out. Oh, I'm not playing that bowl game.
So who are you taking in this ball game?
What teams were there again? USC.
USC versus Washington. The Huskies.
Give me Washington, man. Give me Washington. Give me the Huskies.
I'm going to take USC. I'm just going to get the benefit of a doubt here.
Give old Lincoln a nice old try. Give him a try.
Yeah. Georgia Southern at Georgia Southern at South Alabama. Who you got?
Georgia Southern.
I'm going to take South Alabama. All right, our last game that we're going to do in our college pick'em. Then we have one quick fast pick'em, and then we have some on for week 11 that we're going to be doing here too. It's this game right there. Kentucky at number 7, Tennessee at 7:45 p.m. on the SEC network from Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee. What are you thinking about Kentucky? How their season went up and down everywhere now. Not what we expected that Kentucky was going to do this year from what he did last year. We thought it was going to improve, but it's been a little bit of heckle and jive there. What's going on with Mark Stoops' team right now?
Well, scheduling, for one. That's a tough schedule they had this year. Tough schedule. I think they had a few key injuries last month. But again, they had an up and down season. But I think it's still things that Bob Stoops can build off of with this football team. I wouldn't give up completely on them. They've been in every game, but probably 2 of them. Been blown out like from the start of the game to the end of the game. And on the other side, you got Tennessee. Playing Tennessee at nighttime, that's intimidating. That's an intimidating place to play. All them antics that they do before Tennessee gets on the field, and you're the visiting team, I don't care how good or what your record is. When you experiencing that on the field, Ray, that is not a normal thing. In every college football team has a special way they start the game, halftime a game, and end the game. Everybody has their tradition. Everybody does. But that thing that they do in Tennessee, oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah. If you look at this for Tennessee, Tennessee has not given over. The most points they have given up this year is 17 points. And they've given up twice. One to Florida and one to Alabama. They lost. Only loss came against Arkansas, but they only gave up 19 points. 19 points is the most they've given up. 19 to 14.
And what's Tennessee record?
That's the only loss that Tennessee suffered. Florida gave them a run for the money. They lost it in overtime, 23 to 17. What does it take for Kentucky? Kentucky has to score with Alabama. With Tennessee, I'm sorry, with number 7 Tennessee.
By any means necessary. I'm getting 3 points on the board, 6 points on the board. Oh, we need to get a safety. It has to be about field position with them. Field position. If I can't get the ball across the 50, I'm punting the ball and I'm putting them deep in their own territory with good special teams play. I'm going to make them use the entire length of the field the entire game if I'm Kentucky. That's what I'm telling my team about Tennessee.
And that's what Tennessee has done the last few games. They've been playing field position games. They've not been playing what they started out the game with the high-power offensive type. They've been playing field position, running the Sampson, and because the mistakes that Elamia Lavia, I think I got his name right. He's 108 out of 170 for 1,413 yards, but 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. But they cut down the interception here the last few weeks against Florida and Alabama. But Sampson has been carrying the team really in the last few weeks. 144 carries for 838 yards and 17 touchdowns. But you got to watch out for Kentucky. Kentucky's got a wide receiver who's has 39 receptions, 587 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Van Graff is supposed to be that quarterback that was going to take the Kentucky team to the next level. He's really struggled. He has 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's only thrown for 1,236 yards out of 100 to 175, 100 completions to 175 attempts. So has Van Graff got to get back to where people thought Kentucky was going to be this year against in Neyland Stadium too, the toughest place to play in Tennessee.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to hear for one, the play calling situation. So I would keep the game real short in the beginning so it opens up a little bit. And what you said about Tennessee, they're playing the field position game because what that means to me, you want your opponent to make the mistake first. So that's what Tennessee has been doing. They want you to make a mistake, and they're going to capitalize off that mistake. And then when they get the ball back, they're going to punish you some more. So I think that's the way and approach that Tennessee has been taking some of these football games of late. But Kentucky, on the other hand, score every time you get the ball and penetrate them deep in their own field. Make them use the length of the field to beat you. Make them use the length of the field to put points on the board. Make points difficult for them.
Yeah, that's another thing about Tennessee too. They do a lot of changing on that defensive line, and sometimes they get the offense doing a lot of false starts. And without the crowd into the game and stuff like that, that shift and stuff, that late shifting. Now we see it more in college football. They're calling it delay a game on the defense because it shifts. It's forcing the offensive players to move, but they don't come across the line of scrimmage.
Right.
Why is they focusing on the shift of the defense? Because they're allowed to shift as long as they don't come across the line of scrimmage. They'll play to move, but they do it a little bit more throwing flags for delay a game now. On that,
you get an inexperienced lineman up there, you're going to get a lot of confusion. You get an inexperienced lineman up there, it's going to be a lot of confusion. A lot of confusion. You're giving somebody something they've never seen before, they're going to nudge a little bit. False start. But all that motion and everything's like that, that does confuse some teams, though.
So, does Kentucky have a chance going to the Neyland Stadium and pull the upset today?
Oh, everybody has a chance, but don't mean it's going to happen. Give me Tennessee.
I
want this Tennessee-Texas game to be brutal. Prove to me who real.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see here. Let's check the Tennessee schedule out real quick here. They got Kentucky, then they play Mississippi State. They got Georgia on November 16th. They got UTEP on 23rd, and they play Vanderbilt on the 30th. They don't have Texas on their schedule. Nope. They play Georgia on November 16th. They play UTEP. They play UTEP. That's the only Texas team they got on their schedule is UTEP.
That's going to be a blowout.
And then they played Vanderbilt the last game of the season.
Mm.
So that Georgia game is going to be huge for Tennessee and stuff like that. So I think Tennessee wins this ball game. Let's do a rapid fire here. Number 18, Pittsburgh at number 20, SMU. Who you got?
Pittsburgh.
Taking Pittsburgh. I'm gonna take an SMU. They've been playing great at home. TCU at Baylor. Who you got?
Yeah, TCU.
I'm taking TCU in that one. Colorado State at Nevada. Who you got?
Me, Nevada.
Actually, I'm gonna take Colorado State in this one. All right, week 10. This game is on a Tuesday matchup. Rice at Memphis. Who you got?
Memphis.
Taking Memphis also. And New Mexico at San Diego State. Who you got?
San Diego State.
Taking San Diego State there to make sure I got it all right before we adjourn this thing here for the day. Go back to the schedule here. Make sure I got every team that's on that schedule here. I think I might have missed something. I want to make sure that we got everything for week 11. Yeah, I did miss some. Let's see here. I did miss some teams on that week 11. All righty. All right. I think that's about it there on that. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry. I got some more teams to go. Bowling Green at Central Michigan. Who you got?
Central Michigan.
Take Central Michigan also. Miami, Ohio at Ball State. Who you got?
Ball State.
Taking Ball State also. Ohio at Kent State. Who you got?
Kent State.
I'm taking Ohio on that one. Northern Illinois at Western Michigan. Who you got?
Northern Illinois.
Taking Northern Illinois also. This is a Thursday matchup. Appalachian State at Coastal Carolina. Who you got?
App State.
Taking that. Yeah, I got App State in that one also. Florida Atlantic at East Carolina. Who you got?
East Carolina.
Taking ECU on that one. All right, this is the Friday's matchup here. California at Wake Forest. Who you got?
Cal.
Taking Cal also. Iowa at UCLA. Who you got?
Who's at UCLA?
Iowa.
Give me Iowa.
We got Iowa also. Rice at Memphis. We already did the last two. So that's all of the college pick'em all the way up through week 11. The first part of the week 11, Saturday week 11 will come up next weekend. So your final thought on today. What teams are you looking forward to watching today?
Miami Duke game, Florida, Georgia, and Ohio State, Penn State.
Yeah, I got my North Carolina on the radar. My North Carolina team on the radar. If they win this game, they go 5-4. That's a big game there from my perspective, as I'm a fan of Carolina. My next game I want to look at is the number 4 Ohio State, number 3 Penn State. I want to see the Air Force and Army game there, and then the number 1 Oregon at Michigan, and then number 2 Georgia at Florida game. So that's the games on my radar today. As we go forward here. So we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna let y'all get ready, get your popcorns, get your beers, get your tailgating on, get Dre ready to go, getting hyped up at 3:30. I'll check on with him throughout the 3:30 game to see if he's okay after the game's over. Make sure he didn't have a heart attack or anything like that after that Florida loss here. So we're gonna go ahead and say farewells. You got any final words you want to say?
Good luck to everyone and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Y'all too. Everything This has been the All Sports, All Plays College Breakdown with Ray and Dre on the All Sports, All Plays Network. See y'all next weekend. Have a good night.
All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you through the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. Hitting the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.